last game. Is that bet still?
This is how the rich stay rich.
You gotta save this money. I'm gonna see you next week on Wednesday.
Yeah.
At night?
No, at practice.
Oh, at practice?
I mean, I know y'all gonna lose, but if y'all lose,
I get to have that.
if y'all win, you get 400.
I get 400. And if we lose, then you get to keep.
No, you owe me 400.
Bet. I'm staying on it.
At All-Star Weekend.
Oh, no, what is just happening right here? Oh my goodness, it's a Thursday edition of On Cue. There it was, the smoking gun. Every time we want to talk about the game, this league can't get out of its own freaking way. Did you fire the social media team that decided to post 2 players friggin' betting, which clearly is a violation of the CBA, of the WNBA? The players, Buckets and Reese, need to be suspended now. They need to be suspended right at this moment. You cannot, under any circumstances, tolerate this if you are the WNBA, which has its head up his ass, which always has its head up his ass, but will turn around and suspend coaches left and right. Oh my God, that's where we're beginning this Thursday edition of On Cue. Rich Quinones here. Get in early, off, and let me know where you're chiming in from. Like, comment, subscribe, and let's get at it. You got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. The WNBA sitting there pretty much pushing, peddling, advocating for gambling amongst its players. But hold on a second. So you thought that it could get worse. You thought it can get worse because this league decides to delete the video. They delete the video. The social media team just decided, let's overlook Section 5C of the CBA, which any player found guilty of wagering money or anything of value on the outcome score aspect of a WNBA competition is subject to fines, suspensions, or outright DQ disqualification. So they delete the video. So then you're like, okay, you know what? We don't even have to have the smoking gun. We don't have to worry about this. Forget about the smoking gun. Don't worry about it. No one's ever going to know. Even though you and I both know this, when you put it out there on social media, when you put it out there in space, it's there forever. You know that, and I know it. So then it's like, okay, let's just let it go, right? Here's the video, and Atlanta wins 82-81. Oh, by the way, I got some interesting numbers from that game last night. It just happened to be that Bueckers was playing Reese's squad, and Atlanta got the better. Bueckers had the ball late, elected to not shoot it. 82-81, Atlanta, and a nice win. Because, again, can't have nice things if you're in this league. You can't have nice things. You just can't. So here we go. I'm telling you right now, this is a major deal. This is not the contrarian take. This is not, for fodder, for entertainment purposes. This is a major freaking deal, because if this occurs in any other sports league in this country, the penalties are severe. They are harsh. So, and I hate saying the word stupid or dumb, but how asinine does the league have to be? Because they're promoting this. If you are these books, you've got to be nervous as hell. But wait, there's more, as we like to say in the business. There's more. This shows you the joke of the reporters that also cover this league, because it's like a ha, let's have a little fun with this. So, the players bet, the cash is in hand, they play the game last night, fine. Now you try to delete the friggin' video as if it's not there, and then you get this.
Yeah, I'll be requesting my Apple Pay after this. But no, I mean, Paige is a great player. When hold her to 16 points, it's tough. She's just so good, and her mid-range is obviously...
That's all you needed to hear from Angel Reese, the Apple Pay. I'm telling you guys right now why this is a major issue. This is a major issue with this league. This is a major conflict of interest. This is a major problem right now with this, because now it speaks to the integrity. We already know at times the product is watered down. We already know at times this product is bad. The officiating is absolutely bad. And again, every time you think you're getting out of the way, what happens then? The league finally comes down, and the Seattle goofball Storm Cone owner Keaton, right, who cussed out those girls for supporting Cunningham, gets tagged with a 4 or 5 game suspension. She can't go to home games. Okay, fine. So now you got players. Now you got players. In the NFL, you can't bet. If you bet on your own team, you got a minimum suspension of 2 years. 2 years. But this league has its head so far up its culo, they decide to post their own friggin' players betting against each other on social media. Oh, by the way, on the league's official account. I don't want to hear this crap. It's a side bet. I don't want to hear this. It's not that big of a deal. It is huge because it speaks to the integrity. It speaks to everything that's getting lost in the sauce. So you look at that game last night. You had Dallas plus 100. If you go to Poly Market on the 50C, you had Atlanta minus 104. The spread was Dallas 1.5. You want to go to the over-under for buckets, and her points was right around 20 to 21, juiced over. Oh, by the way, she hit the under. They projected 89-88. They projected a 1-point win by Atlanta. Last night, a 1-point win by Atlanta. The books always know. Don't ever try to go up against the books. It's like trying to go up against the mafia. You're not going to win. You're going to be floating somewhere in the Hudson. But I digress. You now have a league that was actively promoting betting, which, oh, by the way, one of the issues that we talked about last week, some of these unbelievable prejudice and racist fans who lose money from sports betting. So now you're adding fuel to that fire. And oh, by the way, you clearly violated the CBA. But here's the underlining issue. The social media team, the league itself, you overlook the biggest elephant in the room. This is all part of the CBA. They have to be suspended. Period. It's not even up for debate. You clearly laid it out. You can't, the hypocrisy would be unheard of. Sandy Bordello gets caught on a hot mic and she's suspended 5 seconds later. This is it. Adam Silver has already caught wind of this. You want Humperdinck out? Guess what? It's about to happen because enough is enough. They already had to deal with all their stuff going on in the NBA. And oh, by the way, the last time I checked, Billups, Rozier, Porter, lifetime suspensions. And oh, some of them are going to go behind the clink. They're going to get caught and they're going to go to jail. And that's why they're rolling over each other. But here's the other major problem I have. This is the other major problem I have with this. Because now you start to question and you start to look at the apps. Whether it's FanDuel, DraftKings, BetMGM, ESPN, whatever. You don't think right now they're saying to themselves, oh, this is not good. This is not good at all. This is bad. Because now all of a sudden you're talking about not only manipulation, you're talking about integrity, and you're also talking about, well, wait a second. Let's go back and watch the film. Why are there so many missed bunnies in this league? So many bad turnovers, so many missed layups, horrible officiating. The optics are horrible. Horrible. And the league decides to have a little fun and be cute, and their rush to chase clicks, where you showcase a wager that now is going to raise obvious and blatant questions under its own friggin' CBA. Folks, I'm sorry, man. I know about the gambling space. I know about the gambling space and sports betting space. This right now is a no-brainer. You cannot, under any circumstances, and the league is scrambling. They have no idea how to get ahead of this. You cannot allow these two players to just get away with it and think they're above the law, think they're holier than thou. Basically, just think that this is all cute and fun and they made a mistake. I mean, one looks like she forgot, and the other basically got goaded by a reporter and basically smoking gun. Yeah, I was there. I was behind the grassy knoll. You watched that game last night. The refereeing, especially late, were horrible with the upgrade to 3 foul. Was wrong and suspicious. And then these two bet on this game, and then they play each other. Do you not see the problem with this? And then it starts to call into question the integrity of some of these apps that can easily be manipulated by the players. Which moves what? It moves the betting line. It moves the over and under. And if I'm DraftKings, FanDuel, BetMGM, how do you feel about players betting money on their own games? That destroys customer trust. It's bad enough you've got young people. And by the way, females bet, they gamble. They lose their friggin' shirt sometimes, whether the slots, whether playing blackjack, whatever. It is prevalent. It's an addiction. It's why every casino, every app always puts the RG, which means responsible gaming. 1-800, gambling problem, 1-800-GAMBLER. It is an addiction. You can get sucked in. And this is why with some of these young players and these young fans, they follow the mold, man. They basically lead. All right. Oh, this is cool. This is cute. Angel Reese is. Let me get involved. Let me download DK. Let me download FanDuel. The players push, download, and here you go. Get your deposit. Download 100, get 100 in free bets, which you got to meet the wager requirement, and you got to pull your money. You got to show your friggin' firstborn, everything. I know how it works. I worked in the online industry, and I've seen people lose their friggin' shirt. So this is not really a public service announcement for gambling or addiction. The optics and perception is horrible because this violates federal regulations. It triggers fines. And also, by the way, it's a violation of the WNBA's most recent CBA agreement. Someone needs to make a statement. And you know how you make a statement? You turn around and you suspend them. You suspend them. And I'm telling you right now, this is not for fodder. This is not for entertainment value. I'm being totally honest and genuine. I would suspend them 10 freaking games. I would not even dick around with this. You cannot allow, again, the inmates running the asylum, you cannot allow players to jokingly bet, push it out on social, then try to cover your tracks and hide the body, and delete it, then sit there and say you weren't even in the state at the time of the murder, and oh, by the way, then finally admit, yeah, you pulled the trigger. It's a train wreck. It is a train wreck, this league. In any other league, if you get pinched, you can be banned for life. You're suspended like that. There's no hesitation. None. Look what's going on in baseball with all these pitchers. Look what happened to friggin' P. Rose. Look at the NBA. Look at the NFL years ago. Calvin Ridley. I'm sorry. I don't give a crap if they're females. I don't give a crap if it's a WNBA, ABB, BYB, BYO, BB. I don't care, man. Their asses need to be suspended. And Adam Silver is probably seething right now because, again, who's got 42% in this league? The NBA does. That's your equity share. And the NBA is already dealing with crap and garbage with these players getting suspended for gambling and betting and point shaving. Now you want that black eye on this league, which can't freaking get out of their way. Every single, my God, it's like Russian roulette. Every day. Michael chimes in, no brainer. As we all know, Rich, they're dealing with the WNBA as far as we know. Caitlyn might get blamed and have her minutes restricted because of... Yeah, I mean, here's the other thing. Roberta, whatever the hell her name's, why don't you do some real friggin' investigative reporting and figure out what the hell's going on over here? Good morning, Pam. Good morning. Good morning. DB says, 400 side bet between two players shouldn't be a big deal. It is a major, major, major deal. Major deal. Convince me if this is wrong. It was between players. It doesn't matter. It's pushed out on the league's friggin' site. They are betting on a game. Of course it's... Well, you're betting on a game that you're participating in. Period. Period. It speaks to the integrity. It's the optics. If you sit there and you're in a friggin' relationship and all of a sudden your boyfriend or your girlfriend fails to call you in a couple days, and then when you finally meet up, they're not as lovey-dovey, maybe that's a red flag. Fast forward 3 or 4 weeks, and all of a sudden they keep getting up to go to the bathroom to check their phone. That's another red flag. It's the optics. Finally, 3 months later, you catch them in bed with somebody else. Well, you know what? You kind of saw it coming. Like, open up your eyes. Open up your eyes. That's all I'm saying. This is where we're at. So if you look at the smoking gun, if you look at the quality of play in this league, which at times is friggin' horrible. Some of the missed layups, the missed bunnies, the not getting back on defense, the officiating and the referee that every one of their mother bitches, whines, and complains about every single solitary night. Then you get the backlash from some of these sports bettors. Then you add in the prejudice, the racism, and then the trolling. And then you get 2 friggin' players laughing and mucking it up over I don't care if it was $4. It was put out. The league is saying, have at it, gamble, bet against each other. That's my problem. You think the NFL is going to do this? And we already know the NFL's in bed. But point is, can you sit there and see Patrick Mahomes and, I don't know, Matthew Stafford or Mahomes and Lamar Jackson sitting there and they're doing a one-on-one CBS AFC Championship game, Kansas City and Baltimore, and Jimmy Nance, hello, my friends, we're sitting there and we're interviewing them, and all of a sudden, hey, you know what? Why don't you guys make it interesting? Hey, you know what, Jim? Let's do that. Lamar, $100 on the game. They need to be suspended. I don't care who they are. They need to be suspended. This is not like, let's have a little fun side bet. No, man, this is the problem. And this is when you start to go down that rabbit hole that you cannot get out of. It'll spiral. I'm telling you right now. It will spiral. You cannot. It's right, clear as day in the CBA. It is a clear violation. It is a clear violation. Then all of a sudden you start to look at the predictability market. You start to look at the odds market. Now you start to raise an eyebrow. These two going to play again. They're going to meet again. What else is going on? Now let's check all the game logs. Oh, okay. We laugh at the highlights when Angel Reese can't make layups and she trips over herself. We laugh at the highlights when air balls are shot. We laugh at the highlights when there's bare turnovers late. Now you want to talk about it? Where there's smoke, there's fire. And you got to be foolish. You got to be asinine. I told you, I don't like dumb. I don't like to use the word stupid, but you got to be friggin' clownish, foolish, and your head up your ass if you are a social media team to post that, if you're the players to want that on camera. And then if you're Angel Reese to, again, think she's too smart for the room and cute and admit, yeah, I'll send her my Apple Pay. Are you friggin' nuts? This opens up such a can of worms. This is not just me and you doing a little bet when I do my Q's picks on a Friday, on a football Friday. It's not. It's not. It goes deeper because this league and other leagues have already been under the microscope. Go ask Calvin Ridley. Go ask the kid Porter, who's banned for life, and he's playing in the USBL. Millions and millions and billions of dollars get passed through, man. And if a bettor thinks they got the upper hand, how do you know? How do you know that one of these two players didn't call a couple of their friends? How do you know last night, again, Paige sat there and said, yeah, you know what? I'm not feeling it. I know the total's 21. And oh, by the way, I'm not going to take the last shot late. Folks, man, got to wake up. Got to wake up. This is a bad, bad look. And I'm a person that understands sports betting and sports gambling. I've been doing a pod for years, and I worked in the industry. And this is a bad look. And I'm also the one for 20-something odd years that I kept screaming at the end of the day, Pete Rose should never get in the Hall of Fame. And I always felt Pete Rose would never get in the Hall of Fame. I felt Pete Rose had so many times to be very contrite and never did. And then I changed the tune because of what he meant to the sport of baseball. You can't tell the history of MLB without Pete Rose. Now, he passes away. He's probably going to get in. And I'm not saying ban these two for life. I'm not. But you need to make an example. A one-game suspension, a slap on the wrist fine, it doesn't mean anything because you know what happens? Now other players are going to do it. Well, sorry. Slap on the wrist. What? No. 10-plus game suspension. And if you do it again, you're banned for life, period. There's no wiggle room with this. There's no wiggle room. Especially if you're sitting there and you're trying to brand yourself and inspire younger kids or younger girls. People don't understand how bad it is when you talk about gambling addiction. And on the surface, I've seen people on X already sit there and say, make light of it. It's a funny moment for the league. It's fun. Man, and half of them don't understand how it works stateside, with all due respect. They don't. They don't. They have no idea how it works stateside. They have no idea how it works when you get caught with your hand in a cookie jar, period. So you're supposed to be this league that's inspiring younger girls. Is this the message you want to convey for friggin' clicks? For clicks. And I'll tell you what, you go back and watch those friggin' games, you would actually sit there and say, yeah, it looks like the refs are in it. How in the world? You push it out, then you delete it. Cowardly. Cowardly. You can't unring the friggin' bell. You start digging a hole, the lime's down, you put the body in, and all of a sudden, it's like in Goodfellas, right? We got to go back. We got to re-dig it up. Damage has already been done. Period. So this league, this social media team, a bunch of jackasses tried to be too cute for school, too cute for the room, and lighthearted. And now basically, because of their actions, here's more of a friggin' spotlight on a league that can't get out of its way. You gotta love the statement. While the social media post was intended to be lighthearted, WNBA players are well aware of the league's policies prohibiting betting on WNBA games and receive training every year reinforcing those policies. We recognize that this post missed the mark, removed it shortly after it was published, and addressed the matter internally. That tells me nothing's going to happen, by the way. We will also use this as an opportunity to reemphasize with the players involved that conversations about wagering on WNBA games, even with intended as a joke, can have negative consequences. Here you go. So that tells me they're not going to do shit. It wasn't a joke. I'm collecting my bet. Here's the Apple bet. But come on, man. Please, somebody, please. I'm begging somebody out there. Somebody please step up and show some balls for once in your friggin' life and do the right thing. Send the message. Send the message. Period. And they won't do it. They won't do it. And I'm telling you right now, this is not going to be the last time it friggin' happens. You and I both know it. This is not going to be the last time it happens in a league that is full of effing clusters, period. It always starts out with a little, it's lighthearted. Come on, Q, you've been doing sports betting and your pod back your play for years. You worked on gambling shows. You wrote for different publications. You know how it works. Yeah, I do. I know exactly how it works. So you let this fester, you give them a friggin' little pedicure, not even a slap on the friggin' wrist, and then all of a sudden, come playoff time, when shit's starting to hit the fan and the refereeing and officiating is piss poor, then you're going to start to call into question the integrity of the game, which is already called under question on a friggin' nightly basis. So then what happens? Now here's a question for you. If this is Caitlin Clark, right? Because remember, they tried I Gotcha a year or two ago with El Presidente in Barstool, and she wasn't having it. If this was Caitlin Clark, and Caitlin Clark is up there shoveling out $300-400 with Sophie Cunningham, or Wilson, or Buckets, or whomever, if Caitlin Clark, right, the face of the league, that according to L. Duncan a couple years ago, shouldn't have to even worry about jackasses on social, but now all of a sudden has to speak on friggin' everything from famine to poverty to social injustice. That's another jackass for another day. So if this is Caitlin Clark, you all would be out for friggin' blood. 100%. 100%. Suspend her, ban her, face of the league. I told you she's a fraud. What a knucklehead. What a goofball. What a fool. Oh, my God. I couldn't even imagine if this was Caitlin Clark and this happened. Now, Caitlin Clark is not asinine enough to put herself in that position. And, oh, by the way, I'm not calling these players dumb. They're still immature. But again, you got to think. You got to understand. Everything's out there. Once it's out there, that's it. You can't undo it. You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. Do they not get it? Like, some of them really need to, be trained on how to just conduct yourselves on a daily basis, especially during the season. Folks, this is a major problem, and if the league had any balls, they would suspend them. Forget about a game, forget about a warning. 10 games. 10 games. And if you do it again, I don't give a shit if it's a buck. I don't care if it's a buck. You're banned for life. This league, I said it when I came on the air, just like what Pam said. It's the gift that keeps on giving. It's the gift. They just every day, couple games without pay. Appreciate that, Zay. I'm saying 10-game suspension. I'm saying 10-game suspension, man. I'm telling you, because, and again, it speaks to the level of lack of reporting. I want you, again, I want you, you tell me if I'm off base. Get in. Let me know where you're chiming in from. Thursday edition on Q. Rich Quinones here, powered by Fresh Roasted Coffee. I want you to hear this. Like, comment, subscribe to the channel. If you subscribe, that's great. Thank you. But I really want you to listen to this. If you are an outside observer, knowing gambling addiction, knowing of it, knowing of these apps ruining lives, knowing about this league that's been under the microscope, knowing about all the crap going on, even the nonsense going on with Seattle the other day and all that other garbage, and how this league is viewed and reported on. So you're sitting here saying, okay, maybe, you get a good night of games, right? Here we go, MVP conversation, talking about the odds. But then you sit there and you want to be taken serious as a league, and you throw this out there.
All-Star Weekend, you and Angel made a bet with each other on this game. Is that bet still?
This is how the rich stay rich.
You gotta save this money. I'm gonna see you next week on Wednesday.
Yeah.
At night?
No, at practice.
Oh, at practice?
I mean, I know y'all gonna lose, but if y'all lose,
I get to have that.
if y'all win, you get 400.
I get 400. And if we lose, then you get to keep.
No, you owe me 400.
Bet. I'm staying on it.
I mean, seriously. I mean, we got to educate them on how the betting world works. Sometimes you got to shake your head, man. Sometimes. I mean, it's clear as, and then you sit there and you. I mean, my God. If I'm gonna bury the body, I'm damn well gonna make sure no one friggin' finds it. Am I right? Seriously, am I right? I'm not gonna have a little hand out there, so a guy can go running or jogging with the dog, and the dog can find the hand sitting through the friggin' olive branch or the leaves. You can't teach goofiness. I really don't. And they're proud of it. It's clearly in the CBA. Clearly in the CBA. Look at all these other leagues out there. If you bet on baseball, okay, period. Betting on baseball, which a player has no duty or involuntary involvement, it's a 1-year ban, period. On a game, a team that you're directly involved in. Oh, by the way, like some of these pitchers, it's a lifetime ban. Pete Rose, lifetime ban. Placing bets with illegal bookmakers, which a lot of these players have done over the years. Look at the stuff going on with Ohtani and his interpreter. And I don't care what anyone says. I'm the biggest Ohtani fan. I love Ohtani. But I guarantee you when it's all said and done, part of me thinks he totally knew what the hell was going on and had his hand in the cookie jar. But we're never going to know unless you really do investigative reporting. Here's an opportunity for some of these clowns that say they're journalists and cover the league, and they're more fixated on activism and the I gotcha moment. Do a job now. Do an investigation piece. Find out, uncover, man, because the way these players are, they got no freaking common sense. They're like town criers. They want you to know their business. My God. Every single solitary player. It's like, hey, man, I'm an open vault. What do you want to know? Do a little investigating reporting, Roberta, instead of sitting there and try to, do the gotcha moment with all the other crap. With the trans athletes and this and that, which has no bearing on the game itself. Horrible look, man. This is a bad, bad look by the league. And I'm very surprised if they come out again with this kind of... If you're the player, you cannot think you're bigger than the game, period. You can't. And this is like a joking, like, yeah, I'm not going to get punished for this. I'm going to have a little fun with it. They laughed it off. But it calls into question. People bet on these games. Do we not get that? Gambling is prevalent. Sports betting is prevalent. There's a reason these lines move like they do. There's a reason that these books make their money for parlays, because parlays are the most difficult to hit. That's why they offer you all these friggin' bonus bets, and you got to use them, before the deadline. You got to hit the wagering requirement. Yeah, you might lose 1,000 on a slot machine. I might give you 500 in slot dollars, but I got news for you. You're not going to get that money right in the machine and then pull it. You got to wager through. The chances are you pulling at least 250 of that are slim to none. They know what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. That's why they offer certain, the bonus bets, the added value. Here you go. Build the bet, give you the better odds. Because the chances are you hitting these bets are beyond slim to none. beyond slim to none. The poor man's bet. Everyone knows it. You're not going to get any value with some of these money line bets unless you're really taking a dog. And it's a good bet. You see value in it. And that's why the market constantly changes with these player props. There's money to be made with player props, especially in the NBA. But you start to get obscure bets like we talked about last week, and you're looking at a player that's averaging 7 minutes a game, and all of a sudden, their point total is 4, and you see this astronomical friggin' bet, you know something's up. And if you watched the game last night, which I did, the refereeing was very suspect, especially late. So it starts to call into question the integrity of the game. And this league, this is it. If Adam Silver, I would be shocked right now after this. In addition, think about everything that's going on with this league over the last several weeks. From the race baiting, from the homophobic stuff, from the black or white, from the gay or straight, to the trans issue, to fans spitting, to the fans DMing players, to the stalking, to the flagrant fouls, to the suspensions with Bardella, to the Reese stuff, to the bucket stuff, to the Cunningham conversation, to the Caitlin Clark conversation, to a horrible friggin' All-Star game where they looked like they were sleepwalking on a Sunday at the Y, to now this. If you're Adam Silver, you say enough is enough, man. That's it. Done. See ya. All this is happening on her watch. And if you don't suspend them, you are basically advocating and saying it's okay for the players to bet. We believe it won't have an outcome on the game. And that is as naive as you can possibly friggin' get. That is the friggin' Babe in the Woods routine. And it's not, you don't F with people, especially degenerate gamblers when it comes to betting, man. You don't. You just don't. You don't fool with that. Period. You don't. You will find yourself in trouble really fast. Nobody should be bigger than the integrity of the game. Suspend them or fine them. Do something. They have to do something. It's the integrity of the game. It's already taken a hit. So why am I adding more fuel to the fire? Period. Why am I adding fuel to the fire? The commissioner needs to step up. Adam Silver needs to step in and say enough. You just can't do it anymore. You can't get out of your own way. I'm sorry. You're just not capable of running this league. I can't do it anymore. He's got to do that, especially in light of what just transpired with the NBA and the betting scandal, which, again, these leagues, and we know it would, listen, sports betting and gambling, and the athletes have been doing it. We know they've been doing it for years, man. There was point shaving going on in college in the 70s, in the 80s. I mean, it was nonstop, the point shaving scandals. We know about SMU. We know about all the 77, 78 Boston College, man. It's one of the, the old, the theories is that's how they pinched Henry Hill on a wiretap. It was like the worst fix ever that these players got sucked in. Now you're fast forwarding 40, Arizona State, you're fast forwarding 30, 40 something odd years now where gambling is at our fingertips every time you turn around before a game. It's a fascinating conversation. I talk about it a lot on the air on my channel. Every time pregame is brought to you by what? X, Y, and Z. Put your bet in. Bottom scroll brought to you by what? X, Y, and Z. Put your bet in. Well, if you think they're going to go under, over, place your bet now. Get in, get early, get off. And they did the same thing in the World Cup, whether it was friggin' English, whether they friggin' did it in Espanol. It doesn't matter. Pushing bets, pushing product. Once the NFL decides we're going to Vegas, all bets are off, man. And I'm not talking about Alex Karras back in the day or Paul Hornung. The NBA wanted to be a forward-thinking league with Adam Silver, almost embracing the gambling element with some control, with some restrictions, with some guidelines. But you can't. Gambling and control do not belong in the same sentence. Sports betting and control do not belong in the same sentence. It's like the wild, wild west. So now, if you have a bettor last night that catches wind of this, and maybe they lost a substantial amount of money, and they turn around and they rewatch the game, and then they see this, guess what you're going to get? Guess what you're going to get? You are now going to get the hate messages. You're going to get the vile. You're going to get the threats. You're going to get the nasty DMs. You don't fool with this. And they're taking it so lightly, like it's a walk in the park. Adam Silver needs to step in, clean house. He has to. He has to, Pam. At this moment, he has to. There's absolutely, I don't know, what are you waiting for? I mean, what are you waiting for, right? Wings play tomorrow, Dream play Monday. Hopefully something's done before tomorrow. Where's the credibility? You want the NBA to be legit. You want the league to be legit, 100%. 100%. You want the league to be legit. I don't think she, quite frankly, and this is not just, it's not a hot take. I don't even know if she makes it past this weekend. I don't know how. And I, for the life of me, who are they hiring in social media, in PR? Are they young kids out of college that have their head up their ass, that are greener than the grass? Who thought this would be cute? I sat there 2 weeks ago. We were talking about excluding players on the 30th year anniversary poster, right? The perimeter poster. And then someone basically saying, hey, Kathy, you okay with this? Just run it through the pipeline. Who's in charge of the social media team? The kid from Miami, I think, who posted something about LeBron, I think he might have gotten fired. This is way worse. This is way worse because you're starving for clicks in a league that gets clicks and impressions and eyeballs. I'm telling you, right now, at this moment, they need to be suspended. Period. You have to suspend them 10 games. You have to. If you really want to send a message, you suspend them 10 games. And then, if their teams, respectively, wet the bed, so be it. You brought it on yourself. If you want to be taken serious, right, you got to stop doing childish things. Eventually, you have to grow up. I've never, again, I feel like I'm belaboring the point and repeating myself, so I apologize. I've never seen a league like this that cannot get out of their own. It should be a social experiment. They should teach this in colleges. This league should be part of marketing, like building a brand and a business. So you want to build a successful league and brand? Great. That's Tuesday to Thursday, 7 to 10. You want to try to build a business and then basically burn it down within 6 days? Here we go. We got the WNBA for you. Horrible look, man. Mike on Ohio chimes in. Q, I think you're being way too overcritical. I think it's just a friendly bet between players. I disagree, brother. And you've been listening to me for years, and you know my stances on this. And look, I'm not being a hypocrite because when we do our Back Your Play and the years I was on AM 1490 and I was on the ESPN affiliates and the Fox Sports affiliates and we were talking gambling and betting, it was done responsibly, man. You never guarantee the lock of the week. You never sit there and you shill, right? It's a difference between having an opinion and saying this team's friggin' cooked and they're done. And then all of a sudden, like Lloyd Vance and I do, when we're giving you trends and we're giving you analysis on why we think the game will unfold in which they do. But now everyone and their mother on social is a gambling expert. And they want to push picks, sign up for picks. Here we go. No, man. You can bet, you can gamble, money management, bankroll management, do it respectively. But young people, I've seen them lose not a couple $100. I've seen 15, 20, 25, 30, $35,000 swings, losses. I see deposits of you got to wonder where sometimes the money's coming from, by the way. And then it starts to go in the conversation of, guess what? Robbing Peter to pay Paul. Maxing out credit cards. Why? Because you're chasing your losses. So when you have two players, and oh, by the way, these are prominent players too. These are, now again, no disrespect. If you're a bench or role player, they're probably not going to be on camera because, again, this is all about All-Star Weekend. They're not even going to be invited. But if you catch wind of it, same punishment. But these are two marketable players, two faces of this league. Are they not? Are they not? And you're sitting there and you got a camera and you're recording them and they're making light of it. And then they played last night. Bad problem, folks. It doesn't matter if they are, again, small, reserve, bench. It doesn't matter. Listen, They are stars of the league. I'm sorry. They are. They are. They really are. This league as a whole, it's not the smartest league, man. It's not. It's these girls, these kids, they're immature. They're really immature. And yeah, when you have sneaker deals, when you're Paige and you say what you say, and you're Angel and you say what you say, and you've got sneaker deals and endorsement deals, that tells you you are stars. And yes, they are the biggest stars in the league. I hate to break it to you, but they are. Whether you want to debate it or not, it's subjective. Because every time I turn around, people want to compare Caitlin Clark to Angel Reese. People think Angel Reese made Caitlin Clark. And then you got Paige saying what she says, and everyone's talking about her being an MVP candidate. Yeah, that's the definition. Sorry to break it to you, Jose. Appreciate you, brother. But they are stars. Period. Period. Now, if it's a Caitlin Clark, the shit's really going to hit the fan. But she's not foolish enough to do something like that. She's not. She isn't. And Reese, there you go. Double down. Making millions of dollars, worried about $400, and you're doubling down. And the reporter, shame on the reporter, because all you did is add fuel to the fire. Like, seriously, that's another thing. Grow some stones if you're the friggin' reporter. Any worry that you just broke the CBA, you violated your contract, you violated Apple Pay, because they're not reporting. They're not. They're fanboys. They're fangirls. They just want to be buddy-buddy with this league. That's the other problem of the league. Revoke all these friggin' press passes, get rid of the commissioner, blow it up, start from scratch. Seriously. Start from scratch. She actually had a really good game in my mind. It's because she did put a bet on the game. She played well last night. She did. She played well last night. I was surprised. I was surprised. I think she had a double-double last night. 22 and 4, had a couple assists, a couple steals, had one block. Cleaning up the boards, right? Yeah. She played well last night. Paige didn't. She was 6 of 11. I think she hit 1 3, and then the last possession I talked about, which, again, questionable. Questionable, and then going in the corner, just chucking it up. Questionable. I'm just saying. I've seen it before, folks. I can conspiracy theory with the best of you. I have seen it before. I have seen it before. Let me see what you guys are saying. Thursday edition on Q. Rich Quinones here. Was this put on the WNBA website? On X. It was on X. Twitter. Yep. And then pulled immediately. Yeah. Pulled immediately. I mean, you know this. Once it's out there, and all you're going to do is come out with a statement. If the WNBA had any self-respect, if this commissioner knew her fanny was on the line, you know what they would do? Because, again, the hypocrisy. Thomas hits Caitlin Clark in the throat. You got to wait 24 to 48 hours to upgrade to a flagrant 2 and a suspension. Why? Because Adam Silver stepped in. Bordello makes the comment about protected species on the hot mic. Harmless comments, misconstrued. Angel Reese tweeted at her. What happens 5 seconds later? She's suspended. Like that. Bucket says what she says. The league supports that. Cunningham says what she says. And all of a sudden, they want to separate from Cunningham. Now you got this. And crickets. Crickets. I mean, this is the NFL. You think Roger Goodell's playing with that? I know, years ago, they didn't want some of these quarterbacks to deal with the fan fest, right? And the sports betting. Because technically, in all these years, never will be a fantasy football player. Everyone's like, I don't get it. You're in sports talk. You've been doing it for how many years, decades, right? It was just never me. I used to do segments on it. I used to have guests. Never really moved the needle for me. It just didn't. Because I'm watching the game. I'm focused on the game, right? And yeah, if I, would dabble in a couple shekels here and there on the game back in the day, then I'm really entrenched in focus, right? But it was never for me. The NFL would get on some of these quarterbacks if they had a relationship with fantasy football because technically it's a form of gambling. So again, I go back to the NFL and you go to Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley was suspended, right? Indefinitely because he bet on games the previous season and it was on the team. So he had to lose $1 million, what was it, 10 million? I think his base salary, I'd have to double check, 9 or 10 million. 9 or 10 million. He got suspended. Okay. You're talking a $10 million base. You're lost. You forfeit that base salary, man. That's a shit ton of money. I don't care about, again, the taxes, if the agents renegotiate. I don't care about any of that stuff. What was it? A $1,500, whatever the hell it was. Now, these two, $400, and the league is just turning a blind eye. That's the hypocrisy. That's the hypocrisy. That's the double standard. That's a problem. I can tell you this, and some people might not want to hear this. I can tell you this right now. If this commissioner was a male instead of a female, I'm sorry, I'm saying it, they would have been suspended. Period. If this was Roger Goodell, suspended. If this was Adam Silver, suspended. And Adam Silver can still step in if he wants to. He can technically if he wants to. This woman is such a friggin' pushover. She's got zero guts. She can actually, for once, yeah, I get it. They came down with the co-owner, that goofball of Seattle. I mean, that woman should be banned for life. What a jackass and jerks those fans are. They finally do something, right? But if she really wants to flip the script and save her fanny, at least for a couple of days, then the right thing to do, because you don't want to lose trust. Integrity is everything in life. Once you lose it, you're done. If someone sits there and says, man, that guy, he's got a lot of integrity, and then 3 weeks later, I'm never going to trust this cat again, man. He's got zero character, zero integrity. That follows you for the rest of your life, man. That's your reputation. This reputation in this league, I mean, it's at an all-time, it's ridiculously low. You would think, try to go up. Try to go up. You're looking at some good teams, nice playoff, push in the second half. MVP conversation that we've been talking about, fever on fire. You got the trades right around the corner. Is Plum going to go somewhere? Minnesota going to make a move? Dallas going to make a move? Ace is going to make a move? Are we counting out the Liberty? Yada, yada, yada. And then you get these two goofballs, and you get the league pushing it. And then they tried to delete it, knowing that it was a major mistake, trying to hide the evidence. You can't hide the evidence. It's a done deal. Karma's hitting this league like wildfire with everything that is happening. Can Kathy hide from this any longer without repercussions? I don't think she can. How can you, Angel? How can you? It wasn't a joke. That's where you're wrong. You're not getting it. You are not getting it. It wasn't a joke. Even if it is a joke, if they laughed it up, money's exchanged. They're betting. Do you not understand how it can have an outcome on a friggin' game? You're not saying that if you bet the game last night or you had Paige's over and she scores 16. How do you know that's not set up? I can tell those that have no clue about sports betting or gambling and haven't been around the block and are probably younger, with due respect, that think it's ha ha ha, this is cute. It wasn't. I heard people on X and they were coming at me saying, you got to lighten up. Man, I know this space. I know what I'm talking about. You give an inch, they take yards. And if you think this is going to be the first time it happens, if they just do the slap on the wrist, you are sadly mistaken. Do you watch these games? It's like the NFL. Everyone thinks the NFL is rigged. Every time we watch a game on Sunday and I come on the air Monday and we're breaking down and recapping these games, the argument is, yeah, it was a pretty good game. I don't know about that third down call. I didn't think it was holding. I didn't think it was pass interference. Every time you watch these games and it's a 3rd and 13 and it's a passing play and it's incomplete, what does the announcer say? The announcer doesn't say, Burkhart, Nance, Buck. They don't turn around and say incomplete. You know what they say? No flag. Incomplete. It's always no flag first because gambling is so prevalent in all these sports. It's billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars year in and year out. You know how much money moves during the Super Bowl? That's why we have these injury lines, these injury reports. And here's the other thing that calls into question now. Go back and look at all these probable questionables, especially with Caitlin Clark, with the back issue, the minutes restrictions. So one day it's back, then it's all of a sudden rest. Then she says back, she's going to be limited, but she plays 35 minutes. That manipulates the line. It manipulates the betting line, period. NFL, get it in Wednesday to Thursday. All of a sudden, Mahomes shows up on the injury report. And now that 7.5, Kansas City was favored. It dips, it drops to 5.5. That's a big time swing because the quarterback moves the line the most in all sports. It speaks to the integrity. So some of you might think it's a joke, but you're being naive with all respect. With due respect, you're being naive. You're not looking at the bigger picture. Every time this league has an opportunity to do the right thing, they don't. They self-sabotage themselves, period. Here you go. Uncharacteristic of having such a good game, uncharacteristic of buckets not taking the last shot. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Especially with this. Especially with this. Kathy will do one game. Adam Silver is fuming thinking about rest. Look, you guys might be killing me, and that's okay. I would say 10 games, and I think I'm actually being generous. I really do. 10 games. And you know what? If it screws their seasons, lessons friggin' learned. Lessons learned. Because I can tell you this, if they're foolish enough to do it again, then it's a lifetime ban. Then it's a lifetime ban. I see this in leagues overseas, man. There were so many things going on with some of these different leagues overseas, especially in Europe and, these leagues in Malta. A lot of the speculation was some of these players were betting on these games and literally throwing the games. Now, I've called games overseas for various leagues. I've never really seen anything like that, to be quite honest. Like, you can tell. Go back to Terry Rozier and look at the film on X. I think the line was 9, and he raced down the floor to get the layup to cover the number. Like, you just know. You just know. And once you get sucked in, you get sucked in, man. So you guys might think it's cute, but then all of a sudden she gets a call from a friend or a cousin and say, hey, man, you feeling it tonight? Maybe you're not feeling it tonight. And here's the other thing. $400 bet in the grand scheme of thing, right, among players, it's a small bet, right, for the money that they're making. Why risk it? Well, maybe it's on a larger scale. And we have seen this when it comes to point shaving. We have seen this with Tim Donaghy and these referees. Now, all of a sudden, that $1,000 bet, now you're hooked. Now I got you. You're done. Then it becomes $5,000, then $10,000, then $15,000 and $25,000. Now the line is moving exponentially up, going right back down. It's so fluid. It goes from 15 to 12. Then, the point total goes from 16 to 23, drops back down to... those are all red flags. Vegas sees that. These apps see that. They flag it right away. They pull the bet. You ever notice when you're trying to do live in-game betting? And for those that do it, you'll know exactly what I'm saying. How fast these odds fluctuate because they know you're not paying attention. So the ones that are half-assed, you know what? Josh Allen's moving the ball into 25, anytime touchdown. Right? He's got 25 yards to go, anytime touchdown. Oh, look at that. It's plus 170. Then he gets it to the 6-yard line, and all of a sudden the odd drops all the way down to friggin' minus 110. They take advantage of it. They sucker you in because you're not fast enough. You're not educated enough. So now take what we saw the other day by this league and these players, and you're a young kid, and you think it's cute, and all of a sudden you download the app and you start spending mommy and daddy's money, right? And you're trying to chase the dollars and you get sucked in. Optics are everything, folks. Optics are everything. Perception is everything, especially when it comes to sports betting and sports gambling. You ever endure, you ever meet, you ever hang out with a guy that's losing his shirt and how they act? It's beyond life and death. You want to talk about chasing? So now they catch wind. Players are doing this. You go on X, and I guarantee there are so many people that probably bet last night. They probably are trying to get reconciled and get their money back. It's never going to happen. It's not. It's never going to happen. Front office is too weak to actually hand down any significant punishment. I would not even relay it to the front office. It's got to be the commissioner's office. Period. There you go. It's all about money, money, money. He can't. Adam Silver cannot let this slide. He can't. He can't. And I have a feeling that he is. But, man, you want to make a statement, you know, I'm telling you, this, for those that think it's just, you know, no, I hope not. I hope not, Mark. I don't need Congress stepping in with this crap. Go worry about the other stuff going on in the world. You guys might think it's a joke, right? You might think 400 player to player, but the fact that the league put it out there, it's a clear violation of the collective bargaining agreement, which, oh, by the way, Kathy Engelbert was part of what? They revised that. They finally came to a happy medium, and now you're letting this happen. You guys now will watch the games, and I guarantee you will watch with a little more of a closer eye. That's all I'm saying. If it's me, you suspend them 10 games. It wasn't a joke. I'm telling you right now. Hey, listen, PEDs, I don't know. Oh, time for the feds. I thought you were going to say PEDs. Who knows? Caitlin would have been suspended if she did the same thing. She'd be banned for life. The hypocrisy knows no bounds. It just doesn't. It really doesn't. Cece says she bet on it. She didn't bet on a game last year. If she bet on a game and you prove the slip and money was exchanged, and yeah, she needs to be suspended. Period. You guys just talk about anything. It was never that deep. Anything not CC, y'all lose your minds. No, not really. I mean, you know, I'm talking about two other players. Do you gamble? Have you bet before? If you're a gambler and you realize players bet and that's affecting your bottom line, if you see $20 missing from your account, you're probably screaming and running to TD Bank to check to see what's going on. Now imagine you're laying a couple hundred, a couple thousand. I'm telling you right now. You guys think it's a joke. I can tell, again, who the younger ones are because they don't have any friggin' clue. Worst league in the world. I mean, and it can be so good, and yet it's just so bad. It is, as we like to say, the gift that keeps on giving. Period. You hit the nail right on the head. If it was CC or the Fever, there would be an entire investigation. Still haven't seen real punishment on Seattle Storm organization. They came down with the co-owner. They did. They came down with the co-owner. Makes me wonder if they baited for CC to get a technical so she can't play. Listen, this is what I'm saying. If you want to go rabbit hole, I'll take you down the rabbit hole. You want to go conspiracy theory, we'll go that route. If you think this is the first time or the last time we're hearing about it, not happening. It's not happening, period. We're going to see it again. And it might get worse. I've always said this. What happens in the NFL if the day comes, and I have to use him as an example. Let's just say it's Patrick Mahomes, right? Or, you know, Lamar Jackson or Drake May or Matthew Stafford, right? Or just insert your top quarterbacks, whatever. And they get pinched for gambling and betting on the games. Is Roger Goodell, knowing who they are and their impact on the league, is he going to have the stones to ban them, to suspend them, to ban them for life? The NFL had no problem doing it with Alex Karras or Paul Hornung. Giamatti had no issue doing it with Pete Rose. And Silver had no issue coming down the way he does. Now, again, apples and oranges with those players, but Pete Rose is an all-time great career hits leader, Hall of Famer, right? Well, should be, but you know what I'm saying. I'm not comparing this league to the, I guess you can say, the powers of the other league. But the one thing you have to keep in mind, all jokes aside, the NBA has a 42% stake in the WNBA. The NBA basically said, we'll do all the heavy lifting for you years ago. That is why they have the stake in the league. They don't wholly own it, but it's split. It's 42% by the association, 42 is owned by individual NBA team owners. And then 16 is private investors who you're never going to know existed. But the 42 as an entity, even though it's split with another 42 in equity, I'm telling you right now, the NBA has pull. They have clout, period. And also several NBA friggin' teams own WNBA teams. You understand what I'm saying? This is why it's a horrible look all around in light of what's happening in the NBA, in light of everything that came down with the gambling scandal, with the Beasleys and the Roziers, the prop bet manipulating stats, the mafia-backed poker rings with Chauncey Billups and Damon Jones, and then you get the kid Porter that's banned for life. That's why the NBA decided we are going to have stricter, tighter, regimented rules in place when it comes to injury reports. And that's why I go back to, they keep dicking around with number 22's injury report every single night. How are you going to get a grasp for any of these odds or her player props if you think she's going to have restricted minutes? Or she's probable or questionable? You really have to understand how it works in the world of sports betting and gambling and how it affects everything. Everything. So we come full circle. So now you've got two players and the league pushing and promoting it. Does that not raise an eyebrow? Is that not a conflict of interest? I don't know what it is. They're so comfortable betting means it's a regular thing. Listen, I wouldn't put it past them. I wouldn't put it past them. Which then you have to question, why the hell would you even risk that? If there is a large amount of money, this is why everyone sometimes will sit there and say, Rich, do you ever think it would be like some of those players you mentioned? Well, what's the incentive? If I'm a quarterback making $40, $50 million, I would be foolish to put $10,000 on my passing yards. Now, if I'm not feeling it and I want to help out my cousin or my brother or my friend, well, maybe I'm filtering in some information, right? And then what happens? 20 of 26, 288. My over is 300. Late in the fourth, we're moving the ball a little bit. Okay, let's throw it on third down. Threw it away. Tweaked the ankle. Held on to it a little too long. Took the sack. Everything can be manipulated. I go back to when I interviewed Tim Donaghy right after the 60 Minutes piece, and he told me in basketball, it is the most easily manipulated sport from a betting standpoint. You have to slow-mo every play, every single play to really understand what he was saying. Little missed screen here, little flash over there. Oh, we missed a travel. Oh, that's not over the back. Oh, I missed a little bit of the referees in that series against the Lakers and the Kings. That's I've studied that series. And the free throw disparity in the fourth quarter. I mean, that was a fix. That's why the feds came in. That was rigged. So basketball, yeah, you can call holding on every play in the NFL, and there's a lot of calls that are missed. And then we still don't know what a catch is. We still don't know what pass interference is. But in basketball, we sit there and joke. We're like, did they just walk? That's not a Euro step. How many steps did she take? How many steps did he take? Is that carrying? Is that palming? It can be easily manipulated, and referees can go like this. And they can wave off baskets. This is why it's a big deal, because of the optics, because of the perception that this league, again, is just, it's not serious. It's not. It doesn't matter if it's bet on sports books. It does not matter. They broke the rules, period. That's why they have a CBA. That's why a CBA is in place. They literally broke the rules. They violated the collective bargaining agreement. And it's on friggin' camera. And you get an athlete that's goofy enough in Angel Reese to double back and say, yeah, my Apple Pay, confirming we made the bet because it's over there. We saw money exchange. It does not matter. And you don't know if they're doing it on a book or not. You know how many ghost accounts I used to have to flag in online when you realize that these people were not 18 or they were flagged and they try to create these ghost accounts. They try to get through the firewall, the VPN. They know exactly what I'm talking about in this regard. I'm telling you, they need to be suspended, but the league won't do it. They don't have the guts to do it. But it clearly states in the CBA, then what the hell do you have a CBA for? What do you have a collective bargaining agreement for? For what? For toilet paper? Guys, please. Come on. It's actually worse. Believe it or not, it's actually worse because, again, you can sit there and watch that game last night. Well, you have an open look. How come you didn't shoot it? Wow. Oh, man, you really got down the floor real quick. You know, why'd you sprint like that? Oh, no, $400 on the line. Got to cover that number. We are too naive. We are absolutely too naive. And the social media team could not help themselves. All you have to do is look at the CBA. It's Section 5C. Any player found guilty of wagering money. So when you're on video and I have 400 and I give it to you and I sit there and say, winner, wager, bet, what do you need to know? What do you need to know? It clearly states it. Anything of value on the outcome score aspect of a WNBA competition. It doesn't say, oh, by the way, side note, it's okay to laugh and muck it up and have fun with the side bet. That doesn't count. Come on, man. They need to get suspended. And I don't care who the player is. 10 games. Send the message. Send the message. Humperdinck. Send the message. She's not going to do it. She's not going to do it. This bet broke. Collective bargaining agreement rules. Google them. Catholic gets to decide the punishment. This league owners and players need a cleanup big time. Beyond cleanup. Need a new commissioner. I mean, I don't even want to pull that comment out there. Some of you guys are funny. What do we got there? By the way, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. We already dropped our AFC West for you NFL guys. That's going to be loaded in later. Let me see. It might have. Yes, but it's on video. And trust me, everyone sees it on social media. You know how quick. I mean, Outkick was on that like that. Fox was on that like that. They're not. And by the way, it's still funny. It shows you that how goofy the rat ship is. You got to love the rat ship, because the rat ship, if you go to their website and you go to WNBA and you go to their top headlines, right? It says, WNBA bars storm co-owner from confronting fans. And then the second one, they still have an old Clark's 32. The third one down, it says Fever avoid addressing pro-Cunningham rally. Okay. The fourth one down, it says WNBA's Engelbert mum on job status. Nowhere does it have a blurb, a story, a blog on this. Like, for instance, a piece, not a hit piece like USA Today did on Caitlin Clark, but an investigative journalist, a blog, a note, league looking into whether blah, 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 Bueckers and Reese broke the CBA rules, which, again, it clearly states. I mean, all you need to do is look it up yourself. I don't need to do it for you. It clearly states whatever the bet was. They broke the rules. They need to be punished, right? I mean, that's the way it should work. Or are we saying that the Angel Reeses and the Paige Bueckers of the world are above reproach when it comes to this league? Clear as day. Amy's on it. Clear as day. Crystal clear. Listen, that's up to you. If you're a friggin' player, you can't rely on your agent. You get all the notes, the pamphlet. It's in clauses. It's in contracts. They know. They were trained. They have, before season starts in these leagues, they talk to the players. They do. They tell them what will be tolerated. Well, I should really say what's never going to be tolerated. And they talk about sports betting and gambling. It's beyond prevalent. Constantly. It's one of the things that Roger Goodell addresses with the owners every year, and the owners convey it down on the line. So let me ask you a question. If you guys follow other sports, we've seen this in other sports with non-players. We've seen this with non-players. We saw Baltimore just did it. The O's. They just fired a guy. They just fired a guy who's not a player. He was an employee. So, I mean, I think he was a cross-checker. He was a scout. Now, he got fired. They found no indication that he bet on games. But again, the optics were, you bet, you gambled. We can't have that around the building. We can't. When you walk into that dugout, that locker room in baseball, it clearly states it. You walk right down, it clearly states no gambling, no betting allowed. CBA's in place in this league. They clearly violated it. They need to be punished. A lesson has to be learned, period. And it's a harsh lesson for young players. You're not going to dick around. You can't be taking this lightly. We have to take it serious. This is a bad look. Suspended 10 games and you move on. Lesson learned. You do it again, you're banned for life. Go play overseas. Go somewhere else. I think it's pretty cut and dry. I really do. Be honest, has anyone in this chat ever gambled or made a bet on anything and never cast a first stone? Well, I can only speak for me. That's why I believe I'm pretty educated on the topic. And I've worked in the industry. And I've seen, like I said, I've seen it ruin life. Thank you. Amy watched a game last night. It was weird. It really made you raise eyebrows the same day that the video comes out. That's all I'm saying. That's it. The refs threw the game. Paige should shoe. They fear, hello Maria, they fear nothing when nothing is going to be done. I hope the new commissioner has a very different outlook on all this stuff. They better clean it up fast. That's all I'm going to say. She shouldn't even make it past the weekend. Poor Pete Rose. You know, I said Pete Rose is going to get a pass after he leaves this friggin' earth. And of course, now all of a sudden, he'll eventually be in the Hall of Fame. Even though I still feel some of these old-time... I know a lot of these guys that vote, that have a vote when it comes to the Hall of Fame. Some of them are still never going to vote Pete Rose in. Period. Period. It's never. I just don't see it happen. WNBA collective bargaining agreement strictly bans players from wagering on any league game covering both official sportsbook and provides side bets. Sports betting is an abomination. I mean, look, people gamble. They've been gambling since the dawn of time, right? They were doing it. The Greeks were doing it in the Colosseum in Rome. The gladiators. I know they always say for entertainment purposes, but I can tell you, someone that's been around that for a long time, majority of my life, you can get sucked in pretty fast, and you can really get in trouble. You can really get in trouble. Like you can really lose yourself. And I've also seen a lot of young people who now have access, because everything is on the phone and you have more accessibility to these apps, where you're 21, right? You know, you put your bio in, you pass through the red flags. I mean, that's why, you know, back in the day, if online gaming, online betting was not allowed in certain states, what would people do? They would cross state lines. I mean, I'll tell you right now, my friends and I, we used to drive all the way down to Dover Downs in Delaware to put parlay bets in on a Sunday. And, you know, also back in the day, you pick up the phone or you have a runner, you put your bets in, and there you go. And the other thing is this, with the old school guys out there that'll totally know where I'm coming from, every time you want to collect, they would always kind of push you off and say, we'll get you in 2 weeks. Why? Because chances are you're going to put a bet in that second week and you're probably going to lose. And now all of a sudden I owe you. Or you're breaking even, or you sow the juice. So now you compound it to sports betting and the quick buck. And it doesn't help that, just like all these other networks that we consume content, it's thrown in our face. I mean, it's all over. You can't watch one segment without, oh, by the way, do you think Caitlin Clark's going to have 20 or 25 points tonight? Well, 20 to 25. I'm leaning towards the over. I think she'll have 30, so I'm going to say over 25. Well, you know what? She banged up her ankle. She's in a slump. I'm going to say under 25. Hey, get your bet in right now. Like, they suck you right in. And if you're not educated, if you don't really do the time to, like, I have handicappers that come on Back Your Play. And they're not shills. And they state their case as to why they're looking in a certain direction, right? And there's so many extraneous variables when it comes to gambling. So many things you can look at, especially the NFL, right? Talk about the injury report, the weather, inconsistency, road dog, divisional rival, late November, 4-game losing streak. They're going to a young quarterback. The line's going to move. There's so many variables, man. You really have to be astute and study. But this league is a little more of a free-for-all. And I think bettors have taken advantage of the fact that the product is watered down so they know they can be profitable. And what I mean is this. If you go back, there were 2 bettors on X, and they got flagged. I think X blocked them, and the WNBA sent a letter to them that they can't post what they were posting. They would bet every single night Angel Reese was playing that she would miss her first shot. And, you chuckle about it now because there was like 13 straight games where she was bricking her first shot left and right. But they were putting bets in. There were apps, there were odds, there were books that were taking, first miss shot. And they were racking up. And then they decided we're getting rid of some of these props, some of these obscure bets out there because they were being very profitable. But point is, because the league is so lapsed and the product is so watered down and the quality of play is not good at times, bettors take advantage of it. So you have a situation last night in a close game, which a lot of the odds markets predicted 89-88. And what happens last night? Oh, by the way, it's a 1-point win. It's a 1-point game. Is it not? 82-81. Well, you know what? Paige 23-24 finishes with 16. Oh, by the way, 18-19 the over. Reese 22 and a double. Double. And watch the last possession. Or the last possessions. And I joked the other day with you guys. When we were doing the games, what did I say? And you guys were hammering me yesterday. I said the other day, 8.5 the Fever on the road. I knew they were up by 17 against Seattle. I'm going to lean towards the Storm in this one, 9. That's all I needed. Close it out, 9. And they couldn't make a friggin' bucket late. And they lost by 10. But I know going in, because bankroll, money management, small little snippets, small little crumblings of bets here and there, entertainment purposes. I don't get carried away with it. But again, there's your perfect example, right? I can sit there and say, what the hell were they doing the last couple possessions? They couldn't make a layup. They couldn't make these bunnies. Oh my God, just get it down and cover the number. So now you've got bettors out there. Instead of that $25, $50 bet, it's 1,000, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10,000. They're going to look at what transpired online, the fact that the league deleted it. They haven't handed down any type of suspension, as if they're allowing this to continue. They're promoting gambling within. That is a horrible. It's a bad look. It is a horrible look. And the commissioner has to do something. Whatever she does, it has to be no less than a 10-game suspension. No less than a 10-game suspension. And oh, by the way, if you're Angel Reese, have a little friggin' decorum. Have a little decorum. Seriously. The reporter says something, I don't know what you're talking about. We were just joking. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, she's got my Apple Pay? Why don't you back over her twice now? Because she looked like she was taken off guard. But again, you get a young intern. Let's get the clicks. This is your job. And she literally says, you guys bet. You made a wager. So for those that think small, not happening. Look what the NBA did with Porter. That kid can't travel. His passport was revoked. It's rescinded. He can't leave the country. He's playing in the USBA. He's playing in the USBA. And he was an obscure friggin' player. An obscure player. And some of these players, they're not smart. You got the receipts, you got text messages. I agree. And it just shows you that this commissioner is allowing, again, the inmates to run the asylum. Rose banned for life. Yep. And remember, too, Giamatti had it out for Pete Rose. And I always maintain this. When Dateline interviewed Pete Rose had an opportunity to be very transparent, contrite, and say, I have a gambling problem. I bet on games. I'm sorry. I'll serve my time. I hope MLB can forgive me. What people don't know about Pete Rose, first of all, his knowledge for the game of baseball was just on another level. It broke Pete Rose to know he was never going to get in the Hall of Fame. Now, I'm not condoning his actions. You don't bet on your team when you're a friggin' manager of that team. Okay? Pete Rose had a gambling problem. Now, if he would have been contrite, if he would have apologized, if he would have admitted he had a problem, but most who have an addiction don't. They get very defensive. They know how to manipulate. They play the martyr. They play the victim. Pete had multiple outs. And he never, ever, ever sounded contrite. Ever. Now, would he have gotten a pass? I don't think he would have had to wait as long. But if you go back, it's because, again, Giamatti and then under Uberoff at the time. And not only was it baseball, he bet on football, basketball, and horse racing. It was almost by accident they found out about baseball. Now, imagine how that affects if you want to pull the starter. You want to go to middle relief late in the game. Or how you're going to shuffle the lineup. And he accepted that permanent place on baseball's ineligible list. And then obviously Giamatti passed away, but that was his last thing. I'm going to screw Pete Rose. And he had to wait, and he had to wait, and he had to wait, and he had to wait. I don't condone his actions. I don't. But, he paid the price and then some. But we've seen this. We're seeing it right now. Some of the pitchers over the last several years in baseball. I mean, that's another thing. You're talking about, pitching props. Is it going to be a fastball? Is it going to be a changeup? Is it going to be a slider? I mean, they can easily manipulate that. All you need to do is sit there and say, yeah, do me a favor. The first batter I face, I typically throw first ball, fastball, right? Boom. Well, the first two pitches are going to be sliders. Bet it. So when you guys sit there and say it's only $400, it's a joke. It's not. These players look at it as harmless. I look at it as the big picture. The big picture is what? It's right in the CBA. The big picture is what? These players have been attacked viciously by not only racist fans, but racist, degenerate gambling fans. Don't add fuel to the fire, man. And if you're Angel, you got to have a little more friggin' common sense, man. I know you think it's cute for clicks. And it's basically, you know what Angel, Reese, and Paige were doing? They were basically shoving an FU to the league. And then Paige doubled down on it. I'm sorry, Angel doubled down on it. Yeah, Apple Pay. Pay me. Pfft, the hell with the league. Okay. So suspend them. And then we'll see how cute it is. And then you know what's going to happen? Then they're going to play the friggin' victim card. I mean, you just can't make this shit up. You can't. It's just keeps unbelievable. It just rewrites itself every day. Every day. Look, mistakes happen. I'm not sitting there saying, put a concrete to their legs and throw them overboard, but they need to be suspended. You're going to run with the dog or stay on the porch, man. You got to get suspended. You got to learn the lesson. You're young, you're immature, and the league has to send a message, period. And I'm sorry, these two are the guinea pigs. They got caught with their hand in the cookie jar. The league was foolish enough to push it, and then one player doubled up on it. That's it. It really shouldn't be up for debate. You think a 10-game suspension is too hard? What's a slap on the wrist going to do? What's a warning going to do? These players are so immature. They think their shit doesn't stink. They act extremely entitled, some of them. They're going to do it again. And then guess what happens? When they burn themselves the second time, shame on them, but they're going to play the victim. If this commissioner had any wherewithal and understood that she's about to lose her job, then she needs to go out with a bang. And that means you are suspended effective immediately 10 games. We will not tolerate any form of betting within our league on our games. And oh, by the way, our social media team, they have been dismissed. She won't do any of that. She will hide. She will placate. She will, disappear because she doesn't want something like this. But she'll turn around and the league almost will back a reporter like that Roberta person. Like they pick and choose who they want to support, who they don't. That's what makes this league such a crock. But the gambling thing, NBA, NFL, MLB, these players are suspended, man. They're suspended. They are suspended. It's not even a conversation. It's not up for debate. Are you kidding me? So let me ask you, you must have some money, man. Yes, it's gambling. What don't you get? Do I have to break it down like you guys are like children? Yes. I don't care if it was $40. Why do they have the CBA in place, Vince? Come on, you're smarter than that. 400 becomes 1,000. 1,000 becomes 5,000. 5,000 becomes 10,000. Yes, it's how it works. The CBA is in place for what reason? It's called the friggin' collective bargaining agreement, which basically stipulates, has rules, regulations there to protect the player, protect the league. They broke the rule. So what? Then what the hell are we in place? Why do we have rules in place? See, that your line of thinking is warped, man. With all due respect, it's warped. It doesn't matter if it's $400. You have no idea if these players are doing this shit on the side for thousands of dollars. Nobody knows. Nobody knows, because if they are goofy enough to go through bets, they're going to get flagged because, again, you got to show proper ID. You got to have your ID scanned when you go on some of these bets, when some of these apps, especially for online. Especially if you want to withdraw. I need to see utility bill, the utility bill. I need to see bank statement. I got a proof of address. I've dealt with this. I've worked online. I've worked for books. I know how it works. So you sit there and say you think 400 is gambling. Look, I never say, see, that's the no-no. When it comes to gambling, you never sit there and dispute or diminish someone's bet. Whether it's $4, $40, whatever somebody bets, it's their business. But yes, it's gambling. Money exchanged hands. They were betting on the outcome. That is a form of friggin' gambling. I don't care if you and I are in the street kicking rocks, see which one goes further, skipping rocks on the pond. It's gambling. That is why the CBA is in place. What are we not getting? What are we not seeing? So if you break the friggin' rule of the CBA, you should be suspended, punished. It's clear. In the NFL, players that bet on their own teams to win, you get a minimum suspension of 2 years. Calvin Ridley, $1,500. He loses $11 million. And this league decides I'm going to joke for clicks and post two players betting against each other on social media. Why don't you just sit there and have the money exchange hands before the tip-off? It's just, it's beyond dumb. It's beyond compare. So yes, it's gambling. Yes, they broke the rules. I don't know how much more. And I'm not getting fired up at you per se. I'm just fired up because that's why we have rules in place. And that's why people and unions fight so hard for these CBAs. That's all. Those saying it's nothing have to be questioned as to why they know better. Of course. It's the babe in the woods, man. You and I both know it. No rationale, no logic whatsoever. None whatsoever. It's you can't have a league where players are freely gambling. which can manipulate the outcome, which can hurt bettors, hurt gamblers. It's integrity, folks. It's integrity. And these sports books, I guarantee you, they're on the phone with her right now. That's the other thing that I mentioned an hour ago. By the way, Thursday edition on Q. Rich Quinones here. Like, comment, subscribe to the channel. It's the same thing I mentioned an hour ago. Do you understand how these books operate? And you understand the laws, the regulations that they have to go through? I mean, imagine if one of them, let's just say Angel's got 400 and she says, yeah, man, let's go. Let me, by the way, what if she sat there and said, you can't D me up tonight? Now, here's a scenario, right? She's sitting there with the 400. She's with Paige. You can't D me up when we play on Wednesday. Get the hell out of here. Let's go to DraftKings. Let me see my futures. Oh, look at that. My player total scoring is 20. Pff, I'm getting 25. Bet on it. Let's go. $400. That app is sweating. They're their pants right now. So when you sit there and say it's a joke, it's a small bet between players, it's a small bet between friends, it's not. It goes deeper than that. I don't know how I can explain it anymore. And if we agree to disagree, that's okay. But if you're DraftKings, if you're FanDuel, if you're BetMGM, how do you think they feel about players betting money on their own games? Because they set lines, they set player props. Do you understand the conflict of interest? That's catastrophic. It destroys customer trust. It also violates federal regulations, which means these apps can get fined. And it's also, again, for those that might not be following me on a Thursday, a violation of the clear WNBA most recent CBA agreement. So you can sit there and say it was $400, it was 40. It broke the agreement. They violated the agreement. They broke the rules. They need to be punished. Pretty simple. Pretty simple. 10-game suspension. I'm not saying ban them for life. I'm not saying throw them overboard. 10-game suspension. Is that too rough? Too much? As someone who bets, I questioned the performance of Paige last night, and both Paige and Reese should be suspended for the rest of the season. Investigate the WNBA immediately. There you go, Anth. That's from a gambler. That's from a bettor. I have 50-something on X. Joe D, who's a big-time bettor. Tom in Summers Point Q, you know what I feel about gambling and betting. I'm big time. I usually go about 500 or so plus, and here we go with the NFL coming up right around the boat. I look at this and I say it stinks. I got the prop, who's one of my handicappers. He chimes in. I mean, it's a long diatribe, but in the end of the day, he said, this is a horrible look for the league. It's a horrible look. And it puts these apps in a very bad position. Because now, if I want to bet, whether it's $10, $100, or $1,000 on a player prop, and again, let's just go, just use this as an example. You've got what, 3 games on tonight? Let's go, Miles is playing tonight. So the Lynx are playing Toronto, right? So just follow along for argument's sake. If you looked at her player prop, and I'll pull up 2 of the books. And I apologize I should have just looked on my phone for typing like this. All right, so her over. So if you're not a bettor, when they say over under, a player prop is basically, in basketball terminology, rebounds, points, steals, assists, defensive rebounds, offensive rebounds, making a three-pointer, right? So let's just go scoring. So the books are saying tonight, if you like this kid, who I think is fantastic, by the way, and you think she's going to score more than 25, okay, 25 and a half, which is really 26, but for argument's sake, let's just round it off, 25 points, then, this is your value of your bet, X, Y, and Z. It could be plus money, it could be minus. So if I bet $10, I'm saying tonight, $15, $20, I think she's going over 25 points, okay? Now, if you want to take it a step further and you want to kind of look at her last 3 or 4 games, well, she scored 25 points or more one time over her last 6 games, aside from the 33, which was game 7 if we're going backwards. She scored 24 the last time out. So that's not a problem. Now imagine if she's on X right now. She's on X at this moment, knowing her player prop for scoring is 25 points. And I don't know, she's yucking it up with a Toronto player. I don't know, insert player. Who knows? Maybe it's Mabry, right? And she sits there and says, oh, DraftKings has me for 25. Pfft, I lit you guys up for 33 the last time. $400 bet I go over. Do you understand? That is just the worst thing in the world. That shows you that there is zero integrity. It shows you the game is rigged. It shows you the league is fixed. That is a problem. That's all I'm trying to say. In a league that constantly is under scrutiny, in a league that can't get out of their own way, do you really think the best look for them is to have two players on video talking about betting a game during the All-Star break, a game in which they played against each other last night for $400, and then social media pushing it out there, and then deleting it, and then the player after the win doubling down and saying, she's got my Apple Pay? You are basically saying, yeah, I shot him in the backyard. There's a smoking gun. Got to suspend him, man. You got to. You have to. Is there a basis for a lawsuit? I'm glad I didn't bet on FanDuel. They're messing with the Vegas odds. Can we start a mass lawsuit? This is very serious. As a fan, I'm turned off. The books rarely will ever reconcile with that. They just won't. They refuse to do. How many times do you see these stories where somebody puts a penny in a machine and they win $1 million and it's a glitch in the system? And then what do? They get a friggin' $30 voucher at the buffet. They rarely reconcile. The last time I remember that they reconciled was, I remember the night they reconciled the bets with DeMar Hamlin when he essentially died on the field, the Cincinnati and Buffalo game. I remember they reconciled bets. There were a couple times they refunded a player prop on a quarterback going down very, very, very early, but they don't want to give their money back. They don't. Once you put the bet in, that's on you. Imagine if this is the 70s or the 80s, man, and you're picking up the phone and scribbling it down, and you got someone running, handing over the bet. You're never going to see that money again. There have been lawsuits against some of these books. I mean, DraftKings has taken a hit over the last several years with some of their lawsuits and their lawsuit settlement. That was because of the NFT securities, which is not good. And that's a story for another day. That was a class action suit. But if you are talking about, a gambling addict, well, I can tell you this. There have been estimates of those that there's a DraftKings lawsuit that's been floating out on Reddit, right? And they're facing numerous because of the risk-free bets. Because they're telling you, Joe, Bob, Pam, right? Scott, Mike, Anthony, they're telling you that it's risk-free, but it's misleading. So the lawsuit argues that risk-free bets are significantly misleading, like a no-sweat bet, right? You're a new sign-up. You're going to sign up. I promise you right now, bonus bets, man. If you lose your first wager, okay. The lawsuit will claim, and if you go by definition, that these bets are not risk-free at all. So when you sign up for a risk-free bet, you deposit your own money. I sign up. I got DK. I got FanDuel. I got BetMGM. Rich Quinones. Q. Here we go. Here's my login. I'm ready to go. I'm putting 50 on the Giants against the Eagles. I got to ride with my Giants to open up the season. That is my risk-free bet. So I'm depositing my money to make my first wager. If I lose that bet, DraftKings promises me what? Or FanDuel promises me what? They'll reconcile. Bonus bets. I'm getting it back. So basically what that promo is suggesting for like the novices out there is that my original bet was risk-free since DraftKings credits you even if you lose. It's not that simple. If you really understand that, a bonus bet is not real money. It can't be converted into US dollars. And it also expires in several days. You got to read, the devil's in the details. So I lose my 50, and then I'm getting a bonus bet, but I don't see a game that I like, and it expires in 2 to 3 games. I'm actually out 50. That's not a risk-free bet. I risked 50, I lost 50. It's pretty easy. So if you don't use it, and even if you do use it and you win the wager, the payout is always going to be less. Do you understand? So it's like they get you. If you really don't understand or educate yourself, if you do bet and trust me, it's stuff I talk about on the Back Your Play podcast. It goes beyond bankroll management. Because I used to play those roles. I was a VIP host. I worked in online. I understand. I've seen guys lose. I'm telling you, you almost have to talk. I mean, you have to talk them off the ledge. Talking losing 15, 20, 25,000 on a Sunday. And then you got to sit there and say, you got to back off, man. They call it a cooling off period. You got to cool off. Like in certain states, if you want to get banned, flagged, you got to physically do it. They're not, you go to Atlantic City, they're not going to sit there and say, yeah, we're going to ban you because you're a degenerate. No, they're going to keep taking your money. So this is what happens. Now, all of a sudden, you fed my addiction. Someone's got to be held accountable. You're culpable for that. And it doesn't work like that. You rarely see that. And that's why I always caution people about the micro betting. It's very hard. The prop bets, man, they suck you in. Picking the winner of a game, guessing how much a team's going to win or lose by. It's like the micro betting, your odds, I mean, it just dramatically expands how we look at and view betting. So to your point, and I'm sorry I'm being long-winded, it's just, I really enjoy talking about this and trying to educate people. You have to be so careful, and you have to understand that it is a risk. It is gambling. It is. Again, so you go to the casino, you sit there and you pump in $1,000 in the slot machine, and that's how they make their money. You know how fast that money goes. It's like an automatic ATM, and you lose. You call up your host, and you're like, hey, I just lost $1,000. Okay, did you lose $1,000 over an hour, or did you lose $1,000 over 4, 5, 6 hours? Because now I'm going to look at your time, your duration sitting, your pull, your handle, and how much your average bet was. Chances are, if you lost it in an hour, you're probably never going back. But if you lost it over 10, it was a slow burn. So even if I get $300 back in slot dollars and I put my code and I put my card in and 300 pops up and it's available and I start playing my $5, $10, I can't pull that money out right away. I have to do what they call a wagering requirement. I have to keep playing, win a little, lose a little, win a little. Then they'll let you know you've met your requirement. Chances of me pulling 300 from the original 300 are slim to none. It's not happening. So even when you lose and you think you get money back, you lose double. It is sports gambling and sports betting, just gambling in its entirety, it can ruin people. It can flat out ruin people. If you go in knowing that it is entertainment purposes only, and you accept that, and you only bet what you are, what you believe you can afford to lose, and you go to Vegas or you go to New York and play it, or Mohegan Sun or Atlantic City, and you go down there with $250 and you enjoy the weekend with your friends and you eat and you get something comped, that's entertainment purposes. If you friggin' step foot in these casinos and you play these apps thinking you're going to friggin' win and long term, man, even the sharpest of sharpest bettors, even the great card counters get a bad run of cards. The only person that can say they beat the casino is walking in, putting in $20, walking out with 30, being plus 10 for the rest of your life. Other than that, it's a no-win proposition. So when people sit there and say it was a friendly wager, it was a side bet, it was among players, it was among friends, it was among teammates, it was this, that, the other thing, and you get it on video, and then the league pushes it, then the league basically deletes it because they don't want that out there, you are sending a horrible, horrible message because there's young fans and they are very impressionable. And once they turn 21, guess what they're doing? They want to go to Vegas. They want to go to Atlantic City. They want to start betting. They want to start gambling. You got to be careful, man. You have to. And look, I get it. Because like I said, I do my podcast, but it's, my Back Your Play pod, which is starting very soon. It's not one of these, you sign up and you give me, I've never done that. If you have to sign up for somebody's picks or their breakdown or their analysis, they're a friggin' crook. They're a crook. They can't be trusted. They're a snake. So to your point about the lawsuit, I've seen lawsuits before. I've seen them. And more times than not, they're kind of thrown out because it's almost like at will. Now, if you're drinking a lot and they keep serving you and you're sitting at the table and they keep giving you a marker, that's a different story. It's like being overserved at the bar. The bartender knows he should have cut you off. He gave you 4 more pops. You walk out the door and God forbid you get in an accident and you kill someone. I mean, it is a slippery slope. And this league is really walking a very slippery slope. And that's why they have to send a message. That's all. They have to. They have to send a message. And you have to also wonder, too, down the road, there's clauses in contracts. I mean, that's another conversation for another day. Look, I know players that have played overseas, that have had a cup of coffee in the NBA, that played at high level. I know a handful. I'm not going to name them, but I know they have gambled a lot overseas. And I know they've told me that some of these leagues, it's almost as though it's not even a hidden secret. It's like laughable at some point. It's laughable where, a couple $100, depending upon where you're playing, you stretch the dollar and it actually really, can be like $2,000, $3,000, right? And remember, if you're overseas 6-7 months, you're making $2,500. They're not taking care of room and board. You're not getting paid per game. You're getting a monthly stipend. You want to put more money in your pocket. Now, I'm not going to name them, but I know them. And the story they share with me is unbelievable. I mean, I've called games where sometimes I've stopped because I'm like, I'm very wary of, even with some of these other leagues that I call games for in the States, if they start to create a betting line. Because sometimes the players just don't care. It's like a quick buck to them. And then everything's got to be called into question. It makes the quality of product, period. Adam Silver is going to have to put a call Kathy and tell her how to do her job again. Betting is betting. Pros have lost careers over it. Oh, yeah. Yep. And the sad thing, too, is that, and I got soured on it, to be quite honest with you. Like, really soured on it. Because I was seeing how people were losing, like, their livelihood. And I'm like, yeah, this is not, I don't, how can you profit off of this? It's an addiction. So, again, come full circle, a lot of you might think, it's kind of shits and giggles, but you got to look longer picture and the damage it can potentially do. That's all I was trying to say. And I think these players need to be educated. They don't want to get stuck in a bad position. They shouldn't be vulnerable, but they should be educated and they should understand this is a no-no. Suspend them for the rest of the season until investigation of the WNBA. I say 10 games. Max 10 games. And to be honest, part of me was thinking, and even Kiki gets fired up, thinking the rest of the season, but I don't see that happening. I don't think she looks for trouble. I just think Angel has a personality of, F you, what are you going to do about it? I really believe that. I believe her personality is, go ahead, do something about it, and I'll make a stink. No, they better not suspend them. I think they are. I think they have to. I think they have to. I think they have to make a statement. You just can't allow that to be out there. And then the fact that they doubled back and deleted it shows how guilty they are. They know, they understood, they made a grave mistake. And the statement that the league comes out with is BS. Period. 100%. They're both at fault. I guarantee you those commissioners are gambling on all the games more than anyone in the league. Roger Goodell has no reason to gamble. He makes $63 million a year and has benefits for life, equity stake, and he also has a private jet. And Manfred can't stand baseball. I don't know about Bettman. Adam Silver wants to be forward thinking. These commissioners aren't betting on their games. They're not. These guys make hundreds of millions of dollars throughout the course of a lifetime and a career. What the hell do they care over $100, $1,000? But the players will do that because they're goofy. They are goofy. They don't know any better. They think it's fun. And I'm telling you, man, you think Porter, again, no disrespect to these leagues, you think Porter wants to play in the USBL? You think Porter hates, or loves the fact that he has his passport rescinded, that he can't travel outside the friggin' country and play? And this is a player that nobody heard of. Nobody heard of this player. And he was foolish. He was foolish. He got caught with his hand in the cookie jar because he was trying to appease his buddies. For what? A couple of dollars? Then he got sucked in. And now you lose an opportunity to play in the NBA. I mean, literally, he was wagering on NBA affiliated games. And oh, by the way, under his account, like he couldn't even hide it. So you're talking about $60,000, $70,000 parlay? And then an under bet, which could have won $1 million? That is a manipulation. That is a problem. So you laugh, it starts off with 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, and then you get this nonsense. I tell you right now, people are going to watch these games a lot closer. And I guarantee you, when I'm off the air, you guys are going to start checking out player props and understanding it more and then sit there and say, you know what? Rich wasn't as crazy as I thought he was. He's making a little bit of sense on a Thursday. The books have you. They know exactly how to get you, how to manipulate, period. And if you get sucked in, you get sucked in, man. It's in their rule book. Correct. It is. Let me see. What do we got here? Let me read some of these comments. I don't even think it's about liking the player or not. I just think these players, doesn't matter who the player is. You have to come down. You have to send a message. That's all I'm saying. You have to. So it's like one of these situations where any player gets caught with their hand in the cookie jar. Any player does this, and it's out there, and then you try to walk it back. I mean, I know she was, like, even with the Caitlin Clark thing in the Barstool, I mean, she was not having it. They know better, period. We all know we don't like Angel and Paige's runner-up. If this was any other player in the league, it would not matter. So in one breath, interesting, one breath I had people say they're not stars, and then another breath you say, you're basically validating what I'm saying. Yes, they are stars. They are stars because, again, this happened during All-Star Weekend, right? So I'm sorry, you're not going to have a role player on video. But again, if that role player got caught and did something on IG or on Twitch on one of their stories and they're betting money, then they deserve the same punishment. Whether it's a Mitchell, whether it's a Wilson, whether it's a Buckets, whether it's a Clark, whether it's a Reese, 10-game suspension. Make a statement. I don't need to flatline it. Make a statement, period. Period. That's all I'm saying. Put your foot down. And that's it. They should not be drinking booze on screen. Ban the ads for alcohol. Well, I mean, that's where the money is. You know how much they want to spend? They call them pouring rights, competition. They want that all the way. And that's why these books and these casinos spend a lot of money. You watch the games tonight, DraftKings, FanDuel. Here we go. Yep. Poor Pete. They just said no. Yeah, I read the statement. They just said no punishment will be handed down. This is BS. Then Caitlin should have free reign on these refs the rest of the season with no techs or suspensions. Interesting. Interesting little take. Adam Silver. See, here's the other thing they did. And it shows you how gutless they are. Really. So what if it's confirmed that what if it was a wink wink? Just follow me out for a second. That last night, Paige paid Angel $400, $500 for them winning. Don't shoot the messenger. Then, if that's proven, it's outlandish, you can troll me all you want. But if a player pays another player for them winning and they purposely throw that game, and if you watched the game last night and you watched it late, you'll know where I'm going with this, then the hell with a 10-game suspension. They should be banned for life. So for everyone that thinks it's cute, it's $400, read the room. Read the room. This is a small little nugget of a larger scale problem. That's all. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm just throwing it out there. That's basically throwing the game. So now all of a sudden you go back and you see shot selection, you see turnovers. You're like, what's going on? And, I just, for the life of me, man, these reporters need to press. And it's bad enough they don't even press the commissioner of the league what's going on with that Seattle crap, but they need to press. Angel Reese averages right around 5.2 rebounds per game, 5.2 offensive rebounds a game, leads the league in rebounds. She also, follow me, now these are offensive rebounds. Offensive rebounds. So for those that might not know, offensive side of the glass, a shot's missed, I grab it, right? I miss my shot, I grab it. That's an offensive rebound. She also misses, if you go her plus minus, she misses 4 to 5 layups a game. Just follow me. So is it possible that every offensive rebound has come from her own misses, which is a player prop? And the fact that, again, there's no punishment, which just tells me this league is just, wow. Here's the other thing that shows you this league is not serious and this commissioner needs to be fired ASAP. Lighthearted. Okay, so let's hear the story of the 21-year-old fan who all of a sudden loses their college tuition, robs mom and dad, robs a liquor store, loses their savings because they bet on the game because it was lighthearted. Then the league's going to get sued. I know it's outlandish, and you're like, Q, have more of your fresh roasted coffee. Go take a nap on a Thursday afternoon. I'm doing an NFL show later. You have to just really, you got to read it the way it is, man. That's all I'm saying. You have to really understand where I'm going with this. That small little flame can turn into a wildfire so fast. So fast. And the fact that they call it lighthearted, it's not. Because then you get these degenerate gamblers that go off on social. It's a horrible look, man. I am shocked. I am shocked. I am shocked that Adam Silver has not stepped in. Unbelievable. This woman has like friggin' 9 lives, man. Like a friggin' cat. Right? Cats have 9 lives. Hey, Miss B. I see you. I see you sneaking on the chat, Miss B. Don't think I didn't see you. What do we got there? Let me pull up Miss B. Total, they were joking about betting. Why is everyone taking it serious? Everything I laid out for you. Everything I laid out for you. That's why. Everything I laid out for the last 2 hours. That has well over 1,000 comments. Everything I laid out. It's not a joke. It calls into question the integrity of the game, and they violated the CBA. And if you're supposed to inspire, and you got all these younger fans out there, you want to plant that seed with a young girl who's about to turn 21 and grab herself an app and then start betting and gambling, open up a can of worms. Lighthearted means the league is not taking it serious, which means we shouldn't take the league serious. And I just, I hope Congress doesn't have to step in. We have enough problems, right? Congress is watching them. Nobody cares. Yeah, but yet they still watch the games. Wait till you guys watch and your team gets screwed late on a no call. Then you guys are going to come on the air the next day and say, oh, yeah, Rich was right. He was right. If you watch the All-Star game voting, how did Paige get $400K but 1.5 in 3 days? Smells fishy too, and not because of your hygiene or poor hygiene. We shower twice a day. I was told that's not good for you, but I'm that guy. I would actually shower before I work out and then shower again, sometimes 3 times a day. But they say that's not good for your skin. I don't know. Maybe I just like, I like hygiene. That's all. They were shooting the half-court shots, and Paige said to Angel she wanted that money. Why can't they joke about it? I'm going to tell you why they can't joke about it, okay? Because they joked prior to the All-Star game about a bet after the All-Star game in a game in which they were both competing against each other and have it on camera. That's gambling. So we're taking the game in the WNBA, and we're playing against each other, and we're betting on it. That is a clear violation of the CBA and the rules, period. The integrity in question. And then Angel Reese doubles up on it because the reporter wants to be cute and be her friend and say, oh, you're going to get paid? I think it's pretty clear. It's pretty clear. Now, again, I can tell those that really have not been in the gambling space, but because you don't bet and you don't see why this would totally call into question the integrity. Yeah, they exchange money. What the hell are you talking about? Don't believe everything you see, and don't believe everything you don't hear. Yeah, they exchanged. You wave it out there. The bet's in place. Why do you think the league turned around and deleted it right away? Because of the backlash, the hypocrisy. Period. Yeah, I'll give my Apple Pay. Stop defending this. There's nothing to defend. Joe chimes in, Q, you can definitely tell the young fans have no idea about sport. No, they don't. They don't. They don't. But listen, it's all well and good. So you got that going on right now. You got the stuff with Seattle. It is what it is. I just think this league as a whole it's just turned into a black eye. They just really want to watch themselves burn down, and it's unfortunate. You got the trade deadline right around the corner. You got Fever playing good ball. You got the MVP conversation, which I think is heating up. And then you get some of these reporters, which we hammered home that point the other day. They're just activists. They're not even pacifists. They are trying to play gotcha. Where are the reporters today? I'm wondering if there's going to be a reporter that has the balls, right, or the stones to ask one of these said players the next time there's a shoot-around or practice about this. Get it on camera. What's Angel Reese going to sit there and say, I'm only going to address it one time like she did with Bordello? Stop. They were so fast to suspend Sandy Brondello for saying protected species. That hot mic, 5 seconds later, she got pinched and suspended, and they're not going to suspend these two players when now everyone's going to look at the league and say it's corrupt? Bad, 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 bad. Bad, 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 bad. Not good. Not good, not good, not good. And the other issue, too, is, some of these players are the ultimate shit stirs, man. Some of them just really throw shit out there to get everyone worked up in a tizzy. And then the league's got to investigate what? False claims? This league as a whole, they need mature players. They need these players to get educated a lot on what's going on outside of the league. Some of them are smart, but some of them are very misinformed. And you need a new commissioner. And you would think Adam Silver would wake up and say enough is enough. No. I mean, lighthearted. Okay, that's fine. Lighthearted. All right. And that was a great point somebody brought up too, that, they don't want to hear it from the refs when Clark gets a T. Oh, I know guys that are working for these books. They were texting me, asking me what I thought about this. Yeah. They're totally panicking because now they got to be very careful. They're already on thin ice because of how they word stuff. The devil's always in the details with these bets. And when you sign up, and oh, by the way, when you sign up online and you want to withdraw, you got to give them everything. You got to give them blood, your social, your firstborn. The protocol's in place. Unbelievable. And look, Phil in Gloucester chimes in, Q, I've never bet once in my life, but you seem pretty educated on the subject. I'm going to take your word for it this time. Phil, you don't have to take my word for it. Listen, I've seen the highs and the lows of it. That's why I don't do it anymore. I like to talk about it, but I've seen the highs and the lows of it. And I've seen people who have gotten so deep because you trust certain people. And I've seen players, like I said, I was mentioning to you some of these players overseas. And look, I know, Barkley, years ago, even when I worked I mean, I'm talking years ago, and you would see guys like, Barkley and Oakley and Pat and Starks, Jordan. Those guys would love come down to Atlantic City. Barkley, we know he's a gambling degenerate. He makes no bones about it. He's very vocal about it. We know about Mickelson. We know about Jordan. We know about all these players, right? But now you're talking about current players in the league betting on a game they're playing in a league that has already been under a microscope, in a league that's taken hit after hit after hit. They could have just done one right thing and make a statement. And now they're inviting more criticism because of the hypocrisy that they are, saying it's a light-hearted moment. Why? Because the players were laughing it up. What difference does it make if they were laughing it up or if they were serious? What if they were serious and they had their phones out, they had their apps, they had their notebook, and money's being exchanged? Did they get suspended then? It's the act. The act should cause the suspension. But the league, cowards. It's a violation of the CBA. And I'm sure they have clauses in the contracts. It's a violation of the collective bargaining agreement. That alone, they are. So what the league is telling is you could violate the CBA and there will be no punishment. That is what the league is saying. So for the few of you that sit there, not a big deal, move on, nothing to see here. If you break rules, if you're constantly late from work and they tell you can't be late from work and you're late 6 days in a row, what are you going to keep giving an FU to your supervisor or your boss? You're going to be suspended. You're going to go on probation. You're going to get fired. You got to play by the rules, man. You can't be above the rules. You can't. $4 bet, $40 bet, $400 bet. It clearly states no gambling, no betting. And they did it anyway. So to me, don't come at me and sit there and say, what difference does it make if it was a $4,000 bet or a $4 bet? To me, the amount, the increment, it does not matter to me. The rule sits there. The CBA was enacted because of this. Rules and regulations. Read the fine print. So you go out and you do this knowing it is a violation of the collective bargaining agreement. That warrants a punishment, not a fine, not a verbal warning, but a suspension without pay. Let's take it a neck. If you got 400 to bet, then you're fine. You should be good for 10 games. Tough shit. You don't like it? Go play in another league. Go play in another league. Bet all you want. Go overseas. Go play in Malta. Go ahead. Go play in Iceland. Go play in Greenland. Go ahead. Go play in Turkey. Go ahead. Go play in Greece. You're not going to do that in this league. But they won't do that. The commissioner will not do that. She's got no backbone. None. She's got no backbone. Fan of Paige as well. Disappointing on many levels. There's no speculating. Then why did the league delete the video? Why delete? Why? Because the league doesn't want that PR nightmare. They're betting. They're not betting on a regular game or a game of checkers. They're betting on a frigging game they are playing against each other. Who doesn't see the issue with that? Come on, total stranger. Better than that. You're smarter than that. Are we doing the Bible verses on a Thursday again? I thought we did that on Sunday. Yeah, I know, still thrones and glass houses and all this. If they were joking, then why did Angel Reese say she needs to get paid in post-game interview? Michael, the voice of reason. Thank you. The voice of reason. Cast a stone, sins. Jimmy the Greek be rolling over right now. You know the beauty of Jimmy the Greek, too? He knew the NFL couldn't stand that segment. But, everyone knows that Brent Musburger is a big-time gambler. I mean, that's why he created VSiN, V-I-S-N network. But Jimmy the Greek, the NFL never wanted anyone to convey the, quote, point spread. So, Jimmy the Greek, Musburger would kind of softball the questions to him, right? Here you go, Giants come in, 10th ranked offense, Sims looking good, but hey, that Eagles defense, they shut him out the last time out. How do you see it, Greek? And instead of saying, the Giants and the points, what would you say? I think the Eagles are, they're a touchdown better than the Giants. That was the wink wink. He never said the number. A touchdown better. You know what? This game's probably going to come down to a field goal or two. I mean, that was the brilliance, right? And then obviously got himself in a little bit of trouble, and the rest they say is history. But it's gambling, sports betting. The line has been prevalent. Joe Namath, they're sitting there in South Beach in Miami, talking about the line, and I think we're going to win the game, right? Guarantee it. Okay. There were conspiracy theories on that Super Bowl. There were conspiracy theories back in the day. Why did it take Don Shula so long to go to Johnny Unitas? And the Colts were a big-time favorite in that Super Bowl III against the Jets, right? So, let me see. I mean, the WNBA has contract with sponsors. They can lose big money if their integrity is at issue. I think we're long past that, though, with the integrity. I think it's lost. I mean, seriously, let's backtrack for a moment, right? And just go through. Like, I made a list. Let me share with you guys. This is the list that I came up with. So we had the Thomas situation. We had the Clark waiting a week later. We had the Buckets comments, the Cunningham, the trans stuff, the inclusivity, the divisiveness. We had Monica McNutt and all her nonsense, the Harry Douglases. Now you got Ellen Duncan. Now you got the commissioner who's forced her hand to upgrade the foul, then suspension. Then you got the Reese, and then you got the Brandello. Then you got all the stuff going on with Keaton, one of the owners of the Storm, cursing out children. You got the security seizing a sign supporting protection of Title IX. Then you got a fan spitting on another fan. Then you got the fan going after, Gray for not hitting the prop total. I mean, Jesus God. The material writes itself. And this is all under the watchful eye of Humperdinck. I refuse to say her name. Humperdinck. Who's clueless. Who's clueless. Who just allows this to continue. Allows it because that's what she does. She just does not care. Dallas was favored by 1.5 last night. They were laying 1.5. It closed at 1.5. If you're curious. And the over, by the way, the total combined points, 179.5. So it was what? 163, right? 82.81. So there you go. You cannot beat the book. You can't. You know what, Brick? Let me just say this. I go to church on Sundays, so my guy is Jesus. I do like Dios. I do appreciate the Bible verses on a Thursday, though, even though we're kind of talking about sports betting. I don't think God probably ever sat there and, was probably playing cards. I bet you, though, I mean, if we're really going back, because you like to throw the righteousness out there on a Thursday when we're trying to keep it a little light, you got to go back to Romans, right? They were betting back in the day, were they not? I'm wondering, you think cavemen were betting? If we're really kind of breaking it down, because the adage is, they used to clunk the woman and then drag her back in the cave and, have a little love session. And that was the missus going forward. I don't know. Maybe cavemen did. I don't know. But we can do without the Bible stuff, please. If you want to chime in sports-wise, chime in sports-wise. Save the stuff for Sunday. You can give me a sermon then. I'll be on the air Sunday. The rule states, even in a joking manner, as a fine, suspension, or ban for life, just joking about gambling. That's boo. Yeah, exactly, Chef. Technically, the NFL is categorized as entertainment for a reason. Of course. 100%. George, 100%. 100%. 100%. Fired. Pushed out. See ya. Vaya con Dios. Take it somewhere else. Suspend immediately. The biggest irony is they will probably, what do we got there? I like reading through some of these comments. Biggest irony is that they will probably be bet for over under on how many games they get suspended. Mike in Ohio chimes in. Q, I don't think the caveman bet at all. You got me laughing my ass off. I'm just saying I wouldn't put it past cavemen. That's all. They have to minimum suspend and fine them $20K. I say 10 games without pay. 10 games without pay. Not happening, though. All right. Closing in. Got about 15 to play with. Been on the air for well over 2 hours. You guys are fantastic, by the way. I love when you guys engage. You can troll me all you want. Just keep the fun going, the banter, the debates. Like, comment. Subscribe to the channel if you like the content. Oh, by the way, we do talk a ton of NFL. AFC West later today. I got like 700 comments to go through. Refs did this on video, just joking, it would matter. Oh, can you imagine that? You know, the refs are funny too because they're always so demonstrative when they admit that they missed a call. Really, Michael? What are you going with? Little egg white? Cereal? Little coffee? Little toast on the side? That's not really a breakfast, by the way. You know, but this is just, like I said, it's optics are everything in life. That's all. And you just have to be smart and you have to have freaking common sense. I'm not, being the old man on the porch and sitting here saying, take them outside, right, and throw them overboard. That's not what I'm saying. But if you are going to have a CBA, if you're fighting hard for the players and the union and you want to protect the product on the field, on the floor, then you can't allow chaos. This league has allowed chaos from the get-go, and it's magnified now. Why? Everything we've talked about over the last several weeks. It's very divisive. It's inclusive. It's the velvet rope. There's a lot of hate. The players don't respect each other. Coaches don't respect players. Players don't respect coaches. The media doesn't respect the league. The league doesn't respect the media. They play favorites. They placate. The commissioner's got her head up, or you know what? There's a lot of divisiveness and nastiness going on with this league. So common sense has to prevail. It has to. And common sense tells you, don't film that. Common sense says, this is going to get me in trouble. Common sense says, if we put it out there and then delete it, we're more guilty. Common sense says, don't double back and try to stick to everyone and show that you're above reproach. And none of that happened. None of it. So I try to give you both sides of the coin, and I try to play it down the middle. But I don't know how this is really debatable. This, to me, with all due respect, if you gambled and bet, you understand it. If you watch sports objectively and you want to gamble and bet, you get it. If you just watch sports as a fan and enjoy this league, but know this league is punching themselves in the face every friggin' chance they get, and they have an opportunity, to clean things up, you get it. But if you think two prominent players of a league that's taking a hit every single solitary day, flashing money, which, oh, by the way, that is another no-no. You know how many people, and again, you hear stories about this, go on X, go on IG, go on Facebook, and they flash the cash, and then they wind up dead somewhere? Don't do that shit. Have friggin' common sense. I understand it's a lighthearted moment. I understand it was supposed to be lighthearted. But you know what? Time and place. Period. Time and place. And at the end of the day, whether it's in front of the camera, not on the camera, on the team bus, on the team charter, walking to the venue, in a huddle, in a timeout, on the floor, it is a no-no. You cannot bet and gamble in this league if you're a player. Period. It's not even up for discussion, let alone debate. They need to get punished. And the league has an opportunity to finally sit there and show what? Stones. Show that they're not playing favorites. Do you think it's fair that Brondello gets suspended for a game and gets painted a racist in 5 seconds because of a misconstrued comment, and her career and her reputation is ruined? But now players can gamble and bet because it's fun, it's lighthearted, there's no harm in it? We agree to disagree. Favorite show so far, Common Sense Triumphs. If that's directed at me, thank you, Mark. We try. I don't even know if it's common sense. I just think there's a right way and a wrong way. And if it's in place, then guess what, man? Not good. NBA under investigation, 100%. They're always under investigation. You know, you're waiting to see who's going to flip with the feds, by the way. Mr. Saul, we don't have to worry about the Bible stuff and the forgiveness. I told you, no preaching on the show. None. This is not a Joel Osteen. Thou shalt not cast no, I'm casting the first sports opinion. This show is entertainment. We get passionate. We like debate. Yes, lighthearted at times. But we're not doing the Bible stuff. I'm sorry. Stop. That's turning commenters off. It's turning me off. Take it somewhere else. Say that for Sunday school. Say that for Mass. Say that for Sunday. Or Saturday, 5 o'clock if you go to church. Whatever. I'm all in support of it. Keep it to sports. That's it. Got 1,000 something comments talking about this. People are engaged in it. We don't want to talk about Bible verses on a friggin' Thursday. We don't. I went to Sunday school for that. And obviously, clearly, it didn't help me, as you see. Prove it was just 400. Could have been 400,000. Well, that's something. I mean, now we got a situation on our hands. Now we got a problem. Because the 400 eventually turns into what? 500, 1,000, 1,500, boom. Should be suspended for life from the WNBA for life. I say 10-game suspension. If you do it again, you're banned for life. You have to set a precedent, period. And the other reason I think they don't want to do it is because these are two recognizable faces in the league. I honestly believe they don't want to do that because you also know one of them is a shit stir, and that's Angel Reese. You know it, and I know it. So they suspend Angel Reese for 10 games and Paige for 10 games. Out of the two, who do you think is going to sit there and say, it was a foolish mistake, that's on me? I would say over-under, the over being Paige. Who do you think is going to be the shit stir and go on X and claim what? Prejudice. They're out to get her. She's being victimized. That's Angel Reese. And I've gone on the record saying I actually like her. But sometimes I don't like the shit that she does. Two things can both be true. She's a shit stir. She gets suspended. You know exactly the direction she's going, whether you guys want to hear it or not. It's a national firestorm. Why are they suspending me? What do they have against me? Now, you don't really have an argument if both get suspended, because both should, not one or the other. But you know how Angel Reese is. She's immature. She's very immature. She wants to throw the FU at everyone she meets, period. And she thinks she can get away with it. And at this moment, her and Paige, they should not be able to get away with it. They should be punished, reprimanded, suspended, 10 games, dock pay, fined, lesson learned. You pull this shit again, you make a muck on social media, guess what? We're going to tack on 5 more games. You cannot allow the inmates to run the asylum like this. You have to take control of a league that has zero control. Which falls on what? The commissioner. Too many easy layups, not to be skeptical of games. Living in Vegas, I can't help but check the odds of a game when I see fishy stuff happening. It's been going on for years. It's been going on for years. It's just sometimes it's never caught. Sometimes you really don't focus on it because it's not, you don't have players freely doing it. Yeah, I would venture to guess NFL players bet. I would. I'm not naive. NBA players we know. Major League player, we see it. They've gotten suspended. They've gotten punishment. You have to set a precedent, period. You have to put your foot down, period. But the league is so afraid to go after certain players. But I still harken back, man. If it's maybe 2 different players, who knows? This commissioner is gutless. She does not have the stones to do what needs to be done to just basically restore order. She doesn't want to do it. She does not want to enforce. She doesn't. She's just so afraid to like disrupt the masses. She's so afraid to offend, Group A. She's afraid to offend Group B. She just never took control of this league, and it's going to cost her. I know, and it's horrible. And that's the league basically being a coward. You guys look at it and say, it's cute, it's lighthearted. You know how many friends and family members athletes have? And anything that gives them a competitive edge or advantage when it comes to the world of sports betting. I've had former NFL players tell me their relatives would hammer them with texts and calls about bets. And these players were not dumb enough to give them any information. And I'm talking, some of them are Super Bowl winning players, well-known players. I've had this discussion with them off air because I'm fascinated by it, because I wanted to know, this whole dynamic. And some of them forget about asking for tickets for the playoffs or Super Bowls. Hey, man, you think you're going to run for $120? You think you'll get a pick? You think you'll get a couple sacks? And then all of a sudden, yeah, you know what? I'm feeling pretty good. 5,000 on the rushing total, on the over. And all I'm saying is the players, yeah, I feel good. I think we got a good chance, man. Our offensive line can hold up. It just goes to a deeper issue that is really untapped and has to be touched. It does. You have to really get into this. You have to. Because if there's a lot of money being changed hands that we come to see, and it's really starting to affect these books, and people are losing their shirts, and these lines are moving sporadically, it's criminal, man. That's when you start to talk about, you have to bring in the feds. I told you this, point shaving in the 70s, man. That's how they pinched Henry Hill. And this is why these sports books are going nuts. I mean, think about the market, the poly market last night, right? Plus 100 poly market, 50 cents here, money line minus 1.5. Look at the total. Look at the player props. You have an opportunity late to win the game. Shitty shots, right? All right, we're leaning towards Atlanta to win. We're projecting 89-88. They win by 1. Well, what happened last night? The line was 1.5. Go figure. You have a 53% win probability, right? That's how we're projecting the final margin under 1 point. It raises eyebrows is all I'm saying. It does. There are so many different models that project outcomes of games. It depends on where you look, where you research. And that's why when they say shop around, maybe you caught that game at 2.5 and not 1.5, which is kind of a moot point in that regard. Or maybe you caught Angel Reese at 20. Or she was at 23 and you decided to play the over. And you're like, damn, should have played that under at 22. She hit at 22. It is a longer conversation for another day, but it's a major issue. Optics, integrity, it all comes into question now. It does. It comes into question. You have no idea how much money is being bet on these games. You know it, and I know it. Nobody knows how much money is being filtered. So I'm just going to pick up the phone and call my friend and say, okay, here we go. Made a bet. They broke the CBA. They violated what was intact. They should be suspended. I don't see any other way around it. I don't. It's getting bigger than they thought. Cannot do anything. It's going to get worse because we joke. You don't think for 1 second Congress is going to butt their nose in this? You and I both know. You don't think Fox is all over this? They can't stand the WNBA because of their treatment of Caitlin Clark. I guarantee you, Clay Travis is about to have a field day. Huge. And by the way, she got a warning from Silver 2 weeks ago when he said the officiating needs to be better. And she didn't speak on that panel. She spoke, she brought up Diana Taurasi. She didn't answer questions. She didn't go on Dan Patrick, who's very tight with Adam Silver. Strike. And then you have to deal with Congress. Now, I joked before and said, yeah, they're not going to get involved. You know they are. They want this woman out. They can't stand the treatment of Caitlin Clark. They can't stand how this league is run. Now you bring this into play, and these are clear federal violations, regulations. broken rules, especially with these books and these apps. Oh, it's going to be a firestorm. This is not going to go away. This is not going to be a cute little story that they think they could have dropped it on a Friday and we forget about it on Monday. Not going away. Nor it should. It shouldn't. It's a huge story. When you talk about players and gambling, a huge story. All right, going to start wrapping it up. By the way, we are... they should. You guys are still with the Bible verses? Oh, I thought we were past that. I'm sorry. Yeah, no one's hating. No one's hating whatsoever. Minimum season-ending suspension. No ands, ifs, or buts. Tend to agree. If they are suspended, they'll be suspended one game. Ah, you can't do one game, though. What kind of message is that? Are we calling out those that are quoting? Are we quoting scripture? It's a turn off. Can't do it. Don't want it. Not today. I believe an angel had as much money as the hater. She would be billionaire. B. Big Ham. I kind of see your agenda. I kind of exposed you a while ago, but that's okay. I'm going to allow you to keep commenting because it's free will on the show. Yep, no suspension. Angel brings it on herself. Eventually, you let the, frauds come out. Tell you what, we love to hear from Austria. How about that? What time is it over there? That's a big time difference, right? I know it's 3 o'clock on the East Coast. I have to get my coffee. Bible scripture. Folks, I apologize for the nonsense on the feed. It could, but it's not. That's the problem. Don't deflect. What rule is broken? Collective bargaining agreement, CBA. That's why the rule's in place. You can't bet. That's what they did, period. And then Angel Reese was foolish enough to say, Apple Pay, I'm collecting my money, which means there was a bet. So if you're just tuning in, yes. Clearly states collective bargaining agreement within the WNBA. No betting. None. Nope. It's right there. You can see it. It's public. Here we go. And they turn around and they publicly promote a cash bet between two players who are playing on national TV, by the way, against each other last night. Folks, you cannot make this up. Again, I don't like using the term stupid. I'll just say goofy. That'll be the substitution for stupid, but wow. They are definitely goofy. And the social media team couldn't resist. Someone needed to educate them because, again, Section 5C, any player found guilty of wagering money on anything of value on the outcome score aspect of a WNBA competition, i.e. these two goofballs, is subject to fine, suspensions, or outright DQ. So they're not going to get fined. They're not going to get suspended. They use the term lighthearted, which tells you everything you need to know. They don't take it serious. So then you know what? When Caitlin Clark gets a BST and she goes nuts, let her blow up. Don't suspend her. You know why? Because then she can turn around and say, well, hold on a second. You guys don't take anything serious in this league. You don't take the officiating serious. Players can gamble. So guess what? I'm going to call into question this T. They keep opening up Pandora's box. Period. And I don't care who the player is, by the way. I don't care who the player is. Let me see what you got there. I think you got something good to say. All your comments are valid, but at this point they're relevant because the NBA. Well, here's the thing, though. They're not irrelevant, but to your point, there's still the elephant in the room. Okay? And you know what? Adam Silver can step in if he wants to. We've seen it before, have we not? So it's not irrelevant because this story's not going away. There's a bigger picture here. I appreciate the comment, but Adam Silver can step in because he forced her hand with Thomas, correct? And there are some reports he wasn't too happy Brondella was suspended. if you read between the lines. She's already pissed him off because she didn't go on Dan Patrick's show. And he called out the officiating at the panel and summit. So he might be, to your point, he might be at his end of the rope with her. And if he steps in, clearly she's going to be out of a job. Clearly. If he were to step in and say, no, I mean, again, 42%, he's got some sway. He's got some pull. That's all I would say. And again, the fact that Angel Reese backed it up in the interview is foolish on her part, which only, believe it or not, adds more fuel to the fire. That's all. So, again, it'll be interesting to see how everything kind of unfolds. Yes, right now, they're basically saying no suspension, lighthearted, but the story's not going to go away, especially when Congress sinks their teeth into it. And as I kind of circle back, this is something they don't want to deal with. The commissioner doesn't want to deal with this. I mean, we sit there and say she might get fired. She might just turn around and say, I can't do this anymore. Enough is enough. This is draining, even though a lot of it's on her own accord. And she resigns, effective immediately or after the season. She resigns. Two things are going to happen. Silver's going to force her out or she's going to resign. I don't know how you can go forward with her as commissioner anymore. Like, you can't unring the bell. All the damage this season is not going to get fixed in a day. But you can start to set, the foundation, the groundwork. And it would have been good to start with a suspension to say that, it's not going to be tolerated, which also furthers my point that she doesn't care about this league and she can care less about policing the league, because if she gave a shit, she would suspend them. So it almost further adds speculation to maybe after this season, she's done. That's probably why she's mum on her future. Maybe she knows. Maybe Adam Silver pulled her to the side and say, we're going in a different direction after the season. It's between you and I. We're not doing the PR thing. We're not doing the PR spin. Just get to the friggin' finish line. And we're just going to go in a different direction. And that's it. You just never know. We have no idea what's talked about behind closed doors. All right. You guys are fantastic. Excellent, excellent, excellent job with the comments today. I'm going to get through them. You guys can comment on the video once it's up on demand. You guys are fantastic. I love that you guys hung in there for over 2 hours. Thank you so much. Again, Thursday edition on Q. Rich Quinones here. If you like the content, if you like my channel, please subscribe, whether you agree with me or not. We try to have fun. We try to be respectful. You guys, as I always say, just play nice on the chat. You can troll me all you want. Just be respectful to each other. I don't care if you come at me. I'm fine with that. You got to check out my TikTok feed at Rich Q on the mic, because, ooh, my goodness, it gets a little rough. Ooh, they really attack you. We got some NFL talk later on. Lloyd Vance and I are going to break down the AFC West. So we'll go through some win totals and we'll go around the NFL, a little whip around. So keep it locked in for that. We're going to drop that in a couple hours. We'll be back at it on Friday. You can also check me out on Apple, Spotify, Buzzsprout, Podcaster as well. Give me a follow on social at RichQ on X, IG, TikTok at RichQ on the mic. And like I said, best you can do is just subscribe to the channel. Keep engaging, keep chiming in, keep joining me. I greatly appreciate it. I love the fact that you guys are outside the country. I love that you guys are inside the country, all over, East Coast, West Coast. You guys are giving me some great insight, some good feedback, excellent comments as well. And it's a good topic. It's a good conversation today on this Thursday. I greatly appreciate it. If you guys like coffee as much as I do, Fresh Roasted Coffee, 20% off. Check that out as well in the show notes. You guys have a wonderful Sports Thursday, 3 o'clock on the East Coast. We will see you in a couple hours. Little NFL talk with my NFL insider, Lloyd Vance, from Sports Radio 1029 FM The Game. A lot more coming down with this betting controversy in the WNBA. And we'll see if Adam Silver steps in. If not, we're still going to have something to talk about over the next several days. You guys have a wonderful Sports Thursday. I will see you in a couple hours. Subscribe to my channel, please. Share. Keep the comments coming. Keep the engagement coming. If I don't see you later on with the NFL talk, I hope you guys check out the show on Friday as well. As always, be safe, be sound. This has been On Q. I'm Rich Quinones. Hasta luego, buen día.